Tonight's episode of Not the Show is brought to you by Silver Shamrock.
Happy, happy Halloween, Halloween, Halloween. Happy, happy Halloween, Silver Shamrock. Happy, happy Halloween, Halloween, Halloween. Happy, happy Halloween, Silver Shamrock.
It's almost time, kids. The clock is ticking. Be in front of your TV sets for the Horathon. And remember the big giveaway at 9. Don't miss it. And don't forget to wear your masks. The clock is ticking. It's almost time.
Happy, happy Halloween, Halloween, Halloween. Happy, happy Halloween, Silver Shamrock. Happy, happy Halloween, Halloween, Halloween. Happy, happy Halloween, Silver Shamrock.
Good evening and welcome to Not the Show. We're your hosts. I'm Joe.
I'm Mondo. got my spook on.
I like it.
It's the classic Halloween costume of uncles everywhere is the flashlight.
Yeah, mine is kind of lame. I just have I work at BP and I'm covered in oil t-shirt.
See, I like that though.
It works. I wanted to have a dead fish and a dead bird that also were covered in oil to show you. But I didn't get the chance. You know, I got a kid with the trick-or-treating. Exhausting kid with the trick-or-treating.
Now, how was that?
It was fine. We went out with Jen's friends from work and their kids, so there was like at least 5 or 6 other kids. Some in strollers, some really little kids, and some the right age to be running up and down flights of stairs, which Joe is not. He's in the middle. We still have to carry him up the stairs and carry him down the stairs. So in reality, Jen did a lot of trick-or-treating holding Joe.
Right.
And I kind of just tried to climb up as few stairs as possible because I'm lazy.
My nieces and nephew they went trick or treating today. I did not go. They gave me candy though. I've got like some almond joys here. I'm gonna try and eat during the show. Some Tootsie Roll stuff, and they actually gave me a Three Musketeers, and that's
Nice.
like gold. Some of this other stuff, you know, kids don't like that stuff. That's why I got it. But Three Musketeers, man, they gave me a Three Musketeers. They must like me.
I think they do.
But you know, yesterday they also went trick or treating. This is a you may not have known this, but North Carolina is part of the Bible Belt, so it's a very religious area, and you know, Halloween, I guess, is thought to be frowned upon, especially on a Sunday. I don't really think it is because there are plenty of the kids came back with loads of candy, but yesterday at one of the local churches there was a trunk or treat. And my mother and I went with John and Jesse and the kids to that, and that was it's just a bunch of people in the church parking lot. They got their trunks open, so they have them decorated, and they they give out candy, and you walk around the parking lot.
That's kind of fun.
Yeah,
It's like tailgating, but not as cool. No beer.
right. It's like it's cooler for kids. Like that's the kind of tailgating kids want to do.
Yeah.
To dress up and and you get candy.
Well, that sounds like fun, though.
It was. I'm gonna have to. I'll have to get involved in some sort of like I gotta find an agnostic church around here or something. I don't know.
It was a little cold today for trick or treating here. We were like, I don't know. I felt cold, and Joe, the kid, must have felt even colder. He had no coat. He was wearing a costume.
Aw.
Yeah, I'm sure he was fine, but I don't know. I felt like it was cold out.
It was pretty warm here today,
Yeah.
but it's definitely getting a lot cooler. It's a little chilly. I'm sitting outside on John's porch because I figured the brick was nice ambiance.
It is.
And,
I like it.
Yeah, it's yeah, I'm digging it. I'm digging the porch. This is my costume, the flashlight.
I like
And
the flashlight. I like your costume.
thank you. I've also got an afro wig on.
Yes, I saw the afro wig.
And when I'm sitting in the dark and I turn the lights on here, I'll have less glare on my face, and you'll be able to see the afro wig. I have another wig as well. I might change at some point.
Excellent.
I shouldn't have mentioned that because then it would have been like, wait a second,
surprise.
wasn't his hair different before?
It's someone else. Who's that?
which is what I did to Nate. Nate didn't like the other wig. He's like, I don't like that haircut. I'm like, you don't like this haircut? He's like, no, and he wandered off. And when he had his back turned, I swapped wigs, and then I said to him, I said, I don't believe you don't like this haircut. And he looked at me and he was like, kind of poodled, and he just shook his head and wandered off.
That's good though. I'm not into Halloween usually. I do it for Joe. I might have mentioned this in past shows. I have to try and remember what I have to try and remember what I mentioned in past shows. We end up being too. I don't want to be too repetitive, but yeah, I'm not. I haven't been into it. I've never dressed up really. One year we went to a party and I had to wear something, so I just wore an afro wig and no costume. And another year before that, or maybe for several years, ever since the Kevin Smith movies came out with Silent Bob,
Right.
I've always been able to get away with a backwards baseball cap and a trench coat.
Yep.
Especially when my hair was longer than this. His hair is longer than mine at the moment. But there was always that to fall back on. Kind of lame, but it worked for many years in a row. I don't know.
Yeah, I've done the Silent Bob myself.
Yeah. It's an easy one.
It is. And like, at that time I was wearing a trench coat almost all the time anyway. So
It's true.
people are just like, "You supposed to be Silent Bob?" And usually it's like, "No, I'm supposed to be me." But on Halloween, it's like, "Yes, actually, yes, that is my costume. I'm Silent Bob." But I actually have gone as Silent Bob a couple of times, and once as Homer Simpson, and that was a good one. I shaved my head because I couldn't get the bald wig to look right, so I shaved my head and I drew a couple of lines on the top of my head, and I drew squiggly lines on the side of my head.
Okay.
That was a pretty good one. That's another easy one.
Yeah, I suppose. I don't know.
White shirt.
I just felt like it was. I felt like it was for kids, and I had so many friends that were so into it. I still do. I have friends that are incredibly Halloween crazy. Well, that's all right. I like horror movies and horror books, and I'm big on those, and so that's kind of Halloweeny.
That is kind of Halloweeny. Yeah, me too. I love the Halloween though. I am a fan. I don't do much anymore.
Yeah.
Aside from go trick or treating with the kids. Like the past few years, we did the same circuit in Hurley with Angela and her sister and Mary Ellen, and then we would do the same this loop around in Hurley, and we would just walk that loop. And we knew everybody, and you planned on certain stops at certain people's houses for certain things. It's like, all right, then we're going to stop here because they give out soda, and we can use their bathroom. And then then we're going to wander off this way, and free ice cream cones at Stewart's ice cream shops to anyone in a costume. So that
That's cool.
So this year, I was glad I got to do the thing with them yesterday, the trunk or treat. I didn't go trick or treating with them today. I hung out in their house and I gave candy out. Not a lot of it. Not a lot of trick or treaters.
I had one at we went out to take Joe trick or treating at like 3:00. We had one at about 1:00, 2 kids, and then we went out to dinner straight after, and we didn't get back here till 6:30. So that was it. There were no other trick or treaters. One.
That's probably why the kids came back with so much loot. You know,
Yeah, maybe.
when you're like one of 8 trick or treaters, you know, and you go late, it's like you get the lion's share of candy.
It's true. True.
Here, kid,
I
just take the candy and go.
I
Turn
should
my
have.
light out and go to bed.
We really should have left the bowl on the porch. A lot of people do that around here. I don't know if they do it where you are. People just leave the bowl out and they're like, take one, and you're supposed to just take one. That's lame. But we should have done it when we left the house, I think.
Yeah, you know, I mean, when I was younger, I don't think I could have. You know, today, you know, I could abide by those rules. When I was younger, I don't know if I would have. I
Yeah.
might have taken it.
Would you
Like,
take the
take
whole
one.
bowl or just a whole handful?
I would take the whole bowl. In fact, you know what? Depending on what stage of my development I was at, I might have taken the bowl and left the candy, just to be a wise ass.
I like that. So what was that song? What was the song I played today?
Well, that song was a Halloween by the Misfits.
I liked it a lot. A good song.
I
I'd
love
never
that
heard it.
song. Love the Misfits. Great band.
I like the Misfits as well. I just never heard that one. I don't know why. Fell through the cracks
I
of
think
my music.
that might be the band that I've seen most often, to be honest.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think I've seen the Misfits more often than any other band.
I would have to say I've seen Billy Joel more often than any other band, and that's kind of lame.
Does he have a Halloween song?
I don't think so. Not that I can think of off the top of my head. Metallica would be my second most often seen band, and I don't think they have a Halloween song either. Although there's a couple, I guess. No, there's not even. I don't think there's anything Halloweeny.
They have spooky songs, though.
Yeah,
Sort of.
yeah. I don't know. I rewatched last night. We rewatched the I rewatched the remake of Halloween, the Rob Zombie version, the new one.
I have not seen that yet.
It was freaky. A good version of that movie, I gotta say. It was interesting to kind of have some kind of he gave Mike Myers kind of a background, kind of a history, how he got messed up, and you know all the time he spent.
The Love Guru.
I'm sorry.
It's the Love Guru. That's what messed Mike Myers up.
Yeah.
Oh wait, no, wrong Mike Myers. I'm sorry.
I got you.
Oh boy, that's terrible.
It was, but that's okay.
George Bush hates black people. Mike Myers can't get a break. But no, so yeah, you know the backstory. I like that. I'm definitely gonna have to see this because I always felt the original series didn't have enough backstory,
Mm-hmm.
and they would always hint at it, and you'd be like, oh, the next one's gonna get into it a bit more, and then you know it never did, and then it just petered out.
Yeah, I don't think I saw the second remake because I know he did Halloween 2 also. Didn't see that one yet.
All right, I'm gonna have to watch that one because I do like I liked his other movies, the Rob Zombie movies. The can't remember the name of them, House of a Thousand Corpses.
Yeah.
And the one that came after, Devil's Rejects. I like those. Those were good.
Me too. Yeah, and this was a good reimagining. I also watched today I watched something off the Sci-Fi Channel. It was on last night. It was called Red, and it's called Red with something else about Red : something about werewolves. I don't quite remember the rest of it, but all I know is that it was a I want to call it a reimagining of Little Red Riding Hood. But Red is the main character, and she was supposed to be Little Red Riding Hood. But it turns out her family are werewolf killers. They're werewolf hunters. And the firstborn female of every generation is like the head werewolf hunter, and they get the name Red. She's also a redhead.
Right.
And yeah, and their whole thing was killing werewolves. It was an odd movie. I don't think it was as odd as the one that was on last week. Was that Octo, some bad octopus?
Sharktopus?
Yeah, Sharktopus. Sci-Fi Channel's the best movies.
I love those stuff. But Felicia Day. I mean, I didn't see it. I planned on it,
Mm-hmm.
and you know, it had slipped my mind because I love Felicia Day.
So do I. I follow her tweets, and she's going to be in Eureka next season.
Excellent.
Yeah, she filmed a bunch of episodes, not just a cameo either. She filmed a whole handful of episodes. I don't know if the whole season, but
Have you ever watched her in the Guild?
No, I know about the Guild, but I've never watched it. I've seen her on some tech TV podcast. They're not called Tech TV anymore. Twit is the name of the podcast network that's all about technology. It's This Week in Tech was their first show, I suppose, and now they have all different shows for all different kinds of topics. And she was on one day as kind of a guest because she's kind of a geek as well as a tech person. And she was on, I don't think she was on the Mac show. She was on one of the general, maybe it was even this week, the general This Week in Tech show. And she was very interesting. She talked about, filming the Guild, and she talked about a bunch of stuff. And she has an iPad, she has an iPhone. She talked about her gadgets. She's very cool. It'd be nice to know people like. I'd like to know her in person.
We got to get her on the show.
We should. We should definitely. We'll send her an email.
We're gonna have to work on that. She was also. Have you ever seen the Dr. Horrible's sing-along video blog?
No, but I've heard of that too. I haven't seen any of
Oh
her
my
internet
goodness,
stuff.
you must watch that.
Yeah.
I believe it's on the Netflix.
Yeah, I'll look it up.
Nathan Fillion is brilliant. Neil Patrick Harris, brilliant. Felicia Day, hot and brilliant.
I'm gonna have to check it out. I've definitely heard of it, and I know that it's one of those things that I always hear geeks talk about that I should be paying closer attention to.
Dr. Horrible rocks.
Yeah, I don't even know the premise of that one. I know the premise of the Guild is of gamers. It's like a gamers TV show, but I don't even know the Dr. Horrible stuff.
It's Neil Patrick Harris is an evil scientist.
Mm-hmm.
He got his degree in horribleness. He's trying to he's trying to rule the world, more or less in a nutshell. But he loves this girl, Felicia Day, and who inadvertently winds up in a relationship with Dr. Horrible's arch nemesis, Captain Hammer, who's played by Nathan Fillion.
Nice.
That is like my second favorite Nathan Fillion role, like of all times. Like after Malcolm Reynolds, like Captain Hammer, and he's just like, and like Dr. Horrible's really the hero of the piece because, Captain Hammer's just horrible. He's just, he's very arrogant, very egotistical, but funny stuff. Nathan Fillion was awesome.
It sounds cool. I'm gonna have to check that one out, definitely. Some other movie/TV news that we've been talking about in past weeks is The Hobbit is back to being filmed in New Zealand.
I believe that's a direct result from the podcast in which we discussed the fact that, they owe their lives to Peter Jackson. I believe I used the phrase masturbating furiously. They should let him do that if he wanted. And I think as a compromise, they're just going to let him film the movies there. But that is good news, though, because,
it should have the same look as the other movies. It should have that.
Right.
It should be filmed there. Absolutely.
So I'm glad they got that worked out. That's good.
Yeah. What else is going on? They're remaking Alien. I put that in horror news, too, because I figured it's a horror movie. Damon Lindelof is going to be writing the script for a reimagining. I don't know if it's... I think it may be a prequel.
Okay. I'll be okay with that.
Yeah, prequel's okay?
Well, yeah, I'm done with reboots.
Well, there's a lot of them. We've been talking about them for weeks now, too.
But a prequel, I'm good with. I'm okay with a prequel. You can prequelize stuff. Prequels and sequels, yeah, all right, rock on.
Yeah. It's there's possibly going to be Natalie Portman playing Ripley. I think playing Ripley. I don't know how you reboot this when we've already seen how you do a prequel. We already saw. I guess you could always go back in time more because we did see the crashed ship, and we saw how the aliens took over. I guess that happened between the two movies, though. So maybe I'm just crazy. You could definitely go back in time before the first movie.
Well, no, the crash ship happens before the first movie.
Oh.
That's the ship they find. They got it's a stress cause, what brought them out of sleep.
Okay.
The first time we ever see Sigourney Weaver in her underwear, to my knowledge.
Yeah.
But yeah, the space jockey. His ship crashed. Now, I've heard a rumor that there's going to be some gay sex in this.
Have you?
Like, yes, I have, and this is like, I'm not making this rumor up. This is an actual rumor I've read. I mean, someone else may have made it up, but I read this. I wish I could remember where. I'll have to find it. Apparently, the space jockeys race have taken some humans, and they're trying to get them to breed, but they grab two males and they're forcing them to breed. So I don't know if that's true, but there's not that there's anything wrong with that.
No, nothing at all.
Consensual. My problem would be if it was non-consensual.
It does say the origin of the space jockey will be explained, so maybe that's how. Maybe they're going to explain it by talking about more gay sex.
He's a gay sex producer. It's the origin of the space jockey. But no, I'm looking forward to that. I've always liked the Alien movies.
Me too.
Even the bad ones. I even like the bad ones.
Me too. I'm resisting buying them again on Blu-ray now that they've come out. I have a box set of all 7 of them, or however many there were, including extra discs and all kinds of stuff. But Blu-ray is Blu-ray. It's the kind of movie you want on Blu-ray, but I'm resisting.
The Alien 4. I thought Alien 4 was superb until the very end. The half human, half alien baby thing kind of pissed me off.
Yeah, I agree, because I really like that whole crew. They're I know the movies that they've all been in together, but I don't know why. It's the director, right? It's the same person who directed Delicatessen and City of Lost Children.
Right.
I don't know the guy's name, but I know I like those bunch of people. Ron Perlman and
I can't remember his name.
Right, the guy who was in City of Lost Children eight or 9 times over.
The star of Delicatessen. I can't remember his name either. I should have written that down.
Yeah,
somewhere. But he has that very rubbery face. He's like a French clown. I think he was supposed to be a clown in the Delicatessen.
Yeah.
Which is a pretty good, goofy horror kind of movie. Because, they were eating people. It's, not scary horror, but, they were eating people.
It's true. I really like City of Lost Children. It's one of my favorite indie kind of films.
Absolutely. We saw that at the Angelica together, if I remember correctly.
I think so.
I think a bunch of us.
So, you put together a list of horror comedies, didn't you? Because there have been a lot of those lately.
I did. My favorite horror comedies. And where did I stick that list? In no particular order. How many of those? Do you have the list there?
I do.
Can you see that?
I do.
Some of them weren't even meant to be comedies, but they just are. Or some of them don't really have all that much horror, but there's horror aspects to them. But those are like my top 10 horror comedies. In no particular order, we've got. I'll go backwards.
Sure.
Village of the Damned, the remake.
See, now when I saw this, I said to myself, "That's not a comedy. that was Superman."
That's what made it a comedy. Your wife at the time, she was just our friend.
Yeah.
You guys might have been dating at the time. She really wanted to see this, and she said, "You guys, I want to watch this movie." And she rented it back on videotape. For the kids out there, videotape's what we used to watch movies on. Maybe one of these days we'll show you a picture of one. And we were like, "Oh, I don't want to watch." And she really wanted to see it, and she said, "Look, you guys can even make fun of it." And we were like, "Oh, really? Oh, all right." And it's like we didn't need to do any thinking. It made fun of itself. All right. The premise of Village of the Damned, the remake, is Steve Martin somehow knocks out an entire town of people, and they all fall asleep. He impregnates all of the women so that all of the women have these little Steve Martin-looking kids. These kids develop superpowers, and the cast of people trying to stop them is awesome, and no one can do it. You've got Lieutenant Saavik from Star Trek 2.
Right.
She can't stop Steve Martin's children. You have Luke Skywalker, Jedi Master, man. He's savior of the universe. Can't stop Steve Martin's children.
Mm-hmm.
And Superman, Christopher Reeves, before he fell off the horse, um, manages to stop the children, but only by thinking about a brick wall.
you're,
So,
you
but the oh, the movie was terrible. It was so easy to make fun of with that cast, that stellar cast, and we had a good time. And I believe your wife wasn't too pleased with the fact that we made fun of it so easily. I think.
Yeah, she's sensitive to horror movies because she's like a horror movie person. Her favorite horror movies are the Hellraiser movies, which are infinitely make funnable of.
Oh, absolutely, and I love them. But yes, absolutely.
Yeah, I hear there's a new one of those coming out soon too.
That's actually I hear that's a reboot
But you're
or
right.
reimagining.
Village of the Damned is a perfect storm of awfulness that all comes together to make a pretty funny horror movie. You're absolutely right.
Absolutely. Then we got From Dusk Till Dawn.
One of my favorites. I like
You
it.
know,
I like it a lot. First appearance of George Clooney in anything other than like Facts of Life, I think.
and he had the best line at the end of that movie when he was talking to Cheech, and when they get out, spoiler, George Clooney gets out, and Cheech says, what were they, psychos? And he says, no, psychos don't explode when sunlight hits them. They were fucking vampires or something along those lines. And that was awesome. Yes, psychos do not explode when sunlight hits them.
Yeah.
Loved it.
Very cool.
Great movie.
And it's almost like it was almost like two movies because the first half had nothing to do with vampires or it was just like people in a camper and he kidnapped them to get across the border and stuff like that. And then then the shit hits the fan and Quentin Tarantino gets a lap dance and that's the end of it.
That's the end of it.
Yep.
When Quentin Tarantino gets a lap dance, it's time to leave. But yeah, so that's another great one.
Yeah.
Plan 9 from Outer Space. Have you seen this one?
No, I've
Plan
seen
9 from Outer Space. That's one of the classic Ed Wood films.
Yes.
It was probably meant to be serious, or as serious as Ed Wood is going to make it. And oh, it's just terrible, but so terrible that it's becomes an instant classic. I mean, this is one of the worst movies ever made, and it's got it's got such a huge fan following. And including myself, Vampira. Yeah. Bela Lugosi's in it for like 5 minutes. The rest of the time, it's a depending on who you listen to, it's either a chiropractor or a dentist. Playing Bela Lugosi, he's a lot taller, and he keeps the cape in front of his face so that you can't tell it's not Bela anymore. But Tor Johnson, that was a brilliant one. The movie Ed Wood.
I've seen that.
Right, they talk a lot about the making of that film.
Yeah.
Another classic is Evil Dead 2, which was probably intended to be funny.
Probably, yeah. It's definitely couldn't take itself seriously because it was almost a direct remake of Evil Dead, which was more serious.
And and they say the producers like Sam Raimi and everyone else says, well, no, Evil Dead 2 is a sequel. It's not a remake. It's a sequel. And I've got to wonder how stupid is Ash Williams that he's going back to that fucking cabin again and losing another girlfriend there. I mean,
you're right. That's why we always called it a sequel. It couldn't be. That's why we always decided it could never be a sequel. I don't care what they say.
It's not really a sequel.
It's not.
But brilliant. Bruce Campbell as Ash Williams. I didn't put on my list Army of Darkness, but I mean, he was awesome in the Army of Darkness. Which was definitely a direct sequel to Evil Dead 2.
Yes, it was actually immediately after too. Just could have been one long movie.
Right, Evil Dead 2. While it was hilariously funny, I mean, it was also creepy as shit. I mean, it was a creepy movie.
It was lots of monster effects, lots of gore and surprise, a lot of shocks.
Right.
Surprises.
Army of Darkness, not so much. It was fun. There were monsters, but it didn't give you the willies.
Not as much of a horror movie, kind of horror adventure or horror action. I don't even know how to qualify it.
Right.
But good. He's good. I like Ash. I like him in everything, Bruce Campbell. And I saw Evil Dead in I saw an off-Broadway production of something called Evil Dead. And it was actually kind of a combination of the three movies all the way through Army of Darkness that they built into one 1.5 hour live production, and it was actually very, very cool. It was funny. It was meant to be silly and very, very low budget. You know, they would, when there was blood, they'd just splash the people in the front of the thing. They warn you that you're gonna get blood on you in the first couple seats. You know,
Right.
things like that. It was very cool.
Yeah, was there songs? Was it a musical?
Yeah, I think. Yeah, I think
Is
they
that
sang.
oh?
I'm pretty sure they
I have to
sang.
find the soundtrack.
Well, I guess that because I don't know if Silence of the Lambs is on any of our lists. It's probably on the. We're gonna do we're gonna do like the top 10 horror movies of all time later on, but I'm
Right.
sure that Silence of the Lambs is on there. But we also saw Silence of the Lambs on Broadway. That definitely had a soundtrack, which I have. I have the soundtrack to that.
That sounds like it would be kind of funny too.
It was maybe another show. I'll play a clip of it. The put the fucking lotion in a basket song is brilliant.
Oh man. But also on my list I have a Bad Taste, which is also that's one of we discussed this a week or two ago.
We did last week.
Right, because this was one of Peter Jackson's first movies
Mm-hmm.
about an alien invasion of New Zealand, and you know it's got aspects of horror, and it was hilarious. I mean, it had to have intentionally been hilarious. I mean,
Yeah.
there's terrible movie. Once again, a terrible movie, but a lot of fun. Bad Taste is like definitely one of my top, horror comedies of all time.
It's funny how many bad movies are in your or horror comedies. I suppose they're supposed to be. Whenever you take horror and comedy, combine it together, it's gonna be. You know, I'm speaking too soon because a couple of the last ones in this list are actually very good movies that are also horror
yes.
comedies. Because some of the ones we already talked about are either unintentionally bad and great, or intentionally bad and great. But let's get to the ones in the top of your list here first.
Okay, right. So we got Ghostbusters. Not very horror, but aspects of horror. It's definitely a horror-ish movie.
Sure.
I mean, mostly a comedy, and Ghostbusters is a brilliant movie altogether. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
everybody loves Ghostbusters. That's a classic. I mean, if you haven't seen Ghostbusters, like, I don't know what's wrong with you. You have to see it. Ghostbusters is brilliant.
I'm sure there are some people out there. We are old compared to some of the people we talk to, so you never know.
That's exactly.
Mhm.
Return of the Living Dead. This was one of the first spoof zombie movies. I'm not even sure if it was a spoof. Yeah, it was a spoof.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the one with the teenagers, zombies,
Yeah.
typical zombie movie. But it had the zombies could actually talk, which is what made it even better, because you got great lines like the zombie boyfriend is trying to convince his girlfriend to let him eat her brains. But then when the cops show up and the zombies tear into the cops, and one of them just gets on the radio and he's like, "Send more cops." Oh, I mean, John and I still use that line all the time. And send more paramedics. Send more cops, send more paramedics.
Yeah, that was another brilliant movie. Yeah. Does it have anything to do with there were a bunch of them, weren't there? Was there?
There were a few others,
Yeah.
and I don't remember them as fondly. I mean, I know I've seen them,
Mm-hmm.
and they probably weren't bad, but they just weren't good either.
Which was the one in the mall?
Oh, the one in the mall, that's one of the actual George Romero.
Right.
That was
not a spoof.
Dawn of the Dead. Right,
Right.
not a spoof, Dawn of the Dead. It's supposed to be a spoof of American consumerism,
Yeah.
but right, that was remade with that was the one with Ving Rhames.
Yeah. I was gonna say recently remade.
They killed Jay Leno in that one.
Yeah.
Jay Leno. But speaking of famous zombies, also on my list I have Zombieland.
I loved Zombieland. I thought that was a great.
Zombieland, brilliant. Oh yes, it was fantastic.
From the first moment, from the way the story, just the way that the storytelling is going, with the odd subtitles and the narrative by the main guy there, I thought it was just a fantastic movie. Laughing from the very beginning, and really, really fun.
And creepy. I mean, the zombies were creepy. They weren't like they weren't jokes. There was no joke.
No, they weren't.
except for the special guest star. I don't know if I should spoil that because there may be people who haven't seen the movie, but there was a special guest star.
There was.
Fuck. Spoiler alert. So if you haven't seen this movie yet and you don't want to be spoiled, man, this is now. Turn your volume down. Mute your volume. And I'm going to say Bill Murray was fucking phenomenal.
Oh yeah, the best part of the movie was the whole Bill Murray segment.
He was great.
It was just fantastic. When Jen, I saw it like in the theater with some friends without Jen, and then when it finally came out on cable or video, I told Jen she had to watch it with me again, and she was just like, she loved it too. Let's put it that way. I don't want to speak for her, but she was like,
they're doing a sequel.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
That's what
They make sequels of everything.
Yep. This is I guess Woody Harrelson who's in the movie. This is he said this is the one movie he'd be more than happy to make a sequel of.
Really? That's interesting.
Not a fan of sequels, but he said he had so much fun with Zombieland, he'd be more than willing to do a sequel.
Well, that's cool. Maybe it'll be decent. I hope.
And then to top off the, I've got one movie after this one that I just want to mention. This is my favorite horror comedies, but Shaun of the Dead is really up there. Shaun of the Dead was brilliant.
Yeah, I also agree with this one. Love that movie. I love the main character, the two main guys. I think they're both great.
They are. And the best scene for me though, I mean, I literally had to stop the movie. I almost wet myself. Was in the bar where they're beating up on the zombies, and the "Don't Stop Me Now" comes on, and they're beating on the zombie in time to the music, and I nearly lost it. I almost wet myself. I had to stop the movie so that I would, continue to watch it without missing anything.
Yeah, that's great. It's a great.
Because it was
film.
kind of just unexpected.
It was. And the lead guy, I don't. His name doesn't dawn on me at the moment.
Simon Pegg, Scotty.
Of course, Simon Pegg. Yeah, he was very good as Scotty in Star Trek. I thought he was probably the best casting of all the people for Scotty. He was really good, and he was also. I saw the one where he tries to run Fat Boy Run, which I also thought was a funny movie.
I haven't seen that.
Yeah, he's got a wife and a kid that left him, or no, he left the wife at the altar, and he makes some kind of bet and decides that he needs to run a marathon by the end of the movie. And he needs to, straighten out his life. The whole idea was, he straightens out his whole life by running this marathon and proving that he can do it. He's able to be a better dad and be a better ex-husband and, that kind of happy, crappy ending. But still, good movie, and he's good in it.
I'll have to see that. I like him a lot.
Yeah.
But my favorite horror comedy of all time so far is Bubba Hotep. Have you seen that one?
Of course.
Bubba Hotep is an instant classic.
I saw Bubba Hotep in a theater in Manhattan.
Oh, God.
We made a special trip. We took Marlene and Adam and Farrah and Matt, which are friends of mine, who are not into these kind of geeky stuff that I'm into. Well, Adam is. But this is more a horror film. This is not really his stuff, his thing. We dragged them out to see Bubba Hotep in the theater, and it was in a basement, a really small theater in Manhattan. It was awesome. It's an awesome movie. I'll watch it every time it's on.
Bubba Hotep. For anyone who hasn't seen it yet, you must watch it. And it's basically Elvis Presley and JFK fighting a mummy
in an old age home.
And it's got in an old age home, and it's got the best. I now believe that Elvis is possibly alive. If that's how that was going to go down, that made so much sense to me.
Yeah,
like
brilliant movie.
Yeah, it's like that makes sense. Elvis could be alive. I don't know about JFK, because JFK was played by Ozzie Davis.
Yes.
Who, if you don't know Ozzie Davis, folks, he's a black actor. He played JFK, and Elvis points it out to him. And his answer to that was like, "They dyed me this color. That's how clever they are." Little bag of sand.
We didn't mention Bruce Campbell, of course, is playing Elvis.
And Bruce Campbell is Elvis.
Mm-hmm.
And love that movie. The
I have it on DVD.
The mummy curses in ancient Egyptian, and it shows up as hieroglyphs, and then the hieroglyphs kind of shatter, and you see what he's actually saying. Oh, it's great. And he sucked the souls of the old people out of their assholes.
Right, that was the premise. The mummy was showing up and killing all the seniors, and Elvis and JFK decided they had to do something about it. Couldn't let it keep going on. Fantastic.
There was going to be a sequel to that,
Really?
but I guess Bruce said no. It was going to be Bubba Nosferatu. But if they're going to do that, it's going to be without Bruce Campbell because he said he wouldn't do it. But
what are you gonna do? I guess maybe he even has his limits. Although now he's kind of a straight guy. He's on TV. He's got some kind of TV show.
yeah. But he's also making. I haven't seen it yet. He's on that
It's like some kind of cop.
Human Target.
Yeah, some kind of cop show.
Which I have not seen yet. It's on the list of shows that I'm going to have to eventually catch up on Netflix because I watch too much TV as it is. But
you're also going to have to catch up on the show that's starting in 15 minutes. Speaking of zombies, right? It's a zombie show.
Oh, the zombie show. That's right. The
Walking Dead on AMC, starting at 10 o'clock. Not that any of you live listeners should leave at 10 o'clock and go watch, but
that's what DVRs are for.
Yes, not that you don't have one of those though, do you?
I don't, but I have the internets, and I have what do you call it? That on demand. AMC is an on demand channel, primetime on demand channel. So I'm pretty sure that I should be able to see The Walking Dead on the primetime on demand.
Yeah, I think you will too. I set mine to tape. It was a graphic novel, wasn't it, or a comic book?
It was a comic book. I have flipped through it at the Barnes and Noble. I have not actually read this comic yet, though. But
yeah, I knew nothing about it until you mentioned it the other day, and then I saw a whole bunch of people on Twitter that I happen to follow also were mentioning it, and I was like, maybe I should set this to tape.
It's supposed to be really good. It's more of a from what I understand, it's more of a story about how humans can be real bastards trying to survive these zombies. It's more of like, there's more of a human element to it, I suppose.
Well, because it's about the world is already taken over by zombies, right? It's not like
Right. To the best of my knowledge, we don't see like the infection starting.
It's not like they're trying to save the world. It's already done. They're just trying to survive. I think that's what kind of it's about.
Right. And it's so I plan on picking up the graphic novel. I definitely plan on watching the show.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, I'll have to check the AMC on demand tomorrow or find it online. I was able to find my the first episode of Sherlock Holmes I haven't watched yet. Sherlock. I found that online. I downloaded that, and it's sitting on my computer waiting for me to watch.
Cool. Yeah, I wanted to watch that too, although I don't know if I can. Oh, you know what? I can now. I found I do have BBC America. Although it was airing on PBS, wasn't it, when it aired?
Right, it was airing on PBS, right.
Right, so regardless, I did happen to look, I fiddled with my cable package, so I know that I do have BBC America. I canceled my home phone. I no longer have a home phone, and I changed my TV package. I didn't get rid of even one channel. Remember we talked about this last week?
Right.
It's how they get you. They screwed me. I said to them, I want to cancel all my movie channels except HBO and Cinemax, which come together in a package, and I want to get rid of my home phone. And they said, okay, for you to do that, it will cost you more than if you keep all the movie channels that you currently have. I was like, how is that possible? I said, I want the smaller package, which gets rid of Showtime and Stars. I don't know, we're on a tangent again, but that's okay. I said, I want to get rid of I want the second most expensive package instead of the most expensive package, and then I want you to add in the HBO. And they said as soon as you add in the HBO, it makes it the same price as the more expensive package, which comes with the HBO. Plus, it comes with all those lesser movie channels below. They said so they said the only way you're going to save any movie is if you get rid of the HBO and Cinemax, and you keep the Showtime, Stars, and Encore. It's like, I don't want Showtime, Stars, and Encore. I want HBO and Cinemax. And it just they wouldn't do it, and to go down to that smaller package means my internet speeds would go down to 20 over 5, which is I only had 5, that means that 20 megabits per second download, 5 megabits per second upload, which is what I have had before. And they said if you take the premium package for the same amount of money, and you get rid of the phone, and you sign a 2-year deal, your bill will go down $50 from what it is, and your internet speeds will go to 35 over 35. 35 in both directions. And I was like, God damn you, you're making me keep the movie channels. You're making me keep them. Because I like the fact that I'm getting higher speeds. I'm paying $50 less. The $50 less, it was $35 less just to sign a new contract. Because I was out of contract with them. I was paying month to month. As soon as I say I'm willing to sign up for 2 more years, you get the promotional price, which was already $35 cheaper. Then it cut out the phone, was $15 cheaper. So to get rid of the phone, to keep my same package I had before, would still have gone down $35. Then it went down another $15 because I got rid of my home phone, which we rarely use, so I figured I might as well get rid of it. And I get the higher speed internet with the new package too. They suckered me back in.
They suckered you back in, but you know, it sounds like a pretty good package. Though.
It is. And the dude was like, "Why don't you cancel your Apple TV and your Roku box instead? And this way, you get rid of your Netflix and you get rid of your Hulu Plus and you get rid of your Apple TV and because I said to him, I'm getting rid of the movie channels because I get all that stuff elsewhere." And he said, "So you're not saving any money by doing that." He said, "Get rid of all that other stuff, and then then you're not paying for all that." I was like, "Fuck you, you dick." I'm not getting rid of anything else. I did save $50, and you know what? Now that I have no home phone, I probably shouldn't say this on like live radio. My alarm system used to call if someone breaks into my house. It used to call them and say, "Someone's breaking into this house. Call the police, please." But I have no home phone, so I think I'm gonna pay. If they'll charge me extra, they'll put in a cellular dialer down there in the alarm system box. So I think I'm gonna have them do that. I don't know. I went off on a tangent.
That's all right.
I think maybe we'll take a break and play a song. We promised people we'd play some extra songs this week.
That sounds like a good idea. While we do that, I'm gonna get some coffee. What
Right.
what are we playing?
I'm gonna play "Superstar" by Sonic Youth. It's kind of a creepy cover.
Oh, absolutely.
It's you got 4 minutes 8 seconds.
Excellent.
All right, we'll be right back. That wasn't supposed to happen. That wasn't supposed to happen. Now I got it.
Okay.
Second show, your guitar, it sounds so sweet and clear, but you're not really there. It's just the radio. Don't you remember you told me
Sweet. Welcome back. That was Sonic Youth covering
Sonic?
Superstar.
That's a Carpenter song.
Yeah.
And, Karen Carpenter didn't really make it sound like a creepy stalker kind of thing, but Sonic Youth definitely got that across.
They sure did.
That was definitely a song about some sort of creepy stalker.
I liked it, though. I like that version. I've heard it before. I don't know
It's a
where.
good one.
I've heard it somewhere. Probably not on the radio. Radio stinks. I don't listen to anything on the radio.
Me either.
I have XM. I haven't even been listening to my XM shows lately.
Really? And that's, you pay for that.
I do. I don't know. I used to listen to a morning talk show and then a midday talk show. And I still listen. I still pop in now and then and listen a little. And Stern. I still pop in and listen to Stern once in a while. I've actually enjoyed Stern more than Opie and Anthony, who I usually listen to for like 10 years now. Maybe it's because I haven't listened to Stern in 10 years that he feels more fresh than they do. Just like they felt more fresh than he did when I started listening to them,
Right.
It's probably just the break from him that makes him interesting. Because he's not interesting. He's old and he's boring and he talks about how he's going to retire, just like back then.
Right. I haven't listened to Stern in so long, it's not even funny.
It's the same. It's the same show it was. He talks about, he gets celebrities in, better celebrities than any other talk show, which is one of the reasons to listen. You get decent interviews. And he asks everybody about sex, and he has porn stars on. Once in a blue moon, he does a contest. They do phony phone calls, and then Robin's news. And then they play the same music clip before Robin's news, and then Robin does the news. It's the same. Baba Booey has a book out. Just came out.
Does he really?
Yeah, it just came out a couple weeks ago.
Papa Booey.
So did you watch the, speaking of media people, did you watch the Sanity, the Rally for Sanity?
I did. I watched the rally to restore sanity and or fear.
Right.
And it was awesome. It was great. I was really sorry I did not go.
So was I, and I had even talked about the day before. I had one friend who was driving down, but he was driving down Friday. He had a hotel right by where the mall is. He was going to walk, and for him that was good because he could park his car at the hotel. Whereas if I was going to drive down, I was going to have issues with parking. And to take Amtrak from Manhattan was $150 one way going.
Wow.
Yeah, and it was something like 110 coming back to go early that morning, early Saturday morning. And so I was like, forget that. And so I considered driving in the morning, but it's a 4-hour drive from here. I would have had to left to find a parking garage that I was going to find room in, and then walk or take a cab to the mall there. It just seemed too insane to me to show up at 10 a.m. hopefully to get somewhere by noon and be close enough to enjoy the thing.
Right.
So my last choice was to drive the night before, and I really contemplated doing that. I had another friend, Jimbo, who was going to take the train in the morning, and I half thought I'd offer him a ride because he was going to get a ride back from the people that I knew that were already going down there.
Right.
So I half thought I'd call him and we'd drive down together. But then, it gets late and I worked Friday and I didn't go. I was a little sad I didn't go also. I thought that it was a funny show and it had good music and it wasn't political, just like he said it wasn't going to be political. And then I thought that his little monologue at the end there was very, very appropriate and poignant, and I felt emotional when he did it, when he was saying it. And I quoted it. I kept trying to get Jen into it. I was like, "You got to hear some of the things you said." I said, "When you scrutinize, when you listen to something for too loud, and then you can't hear anything." And she just didn't get it, and I wasn't quoting it right. And I think I'm gonna have to play the clip for her from online because you can get the clips now.
Yeah, it was great. And it was funny. Did you see the Yusef, once known as Cat Stevens? Did you see his performance?
No, I tuned in right after Ozzy, I think.
Okay, right. So that's how it all started with the Ozzy. It was Jon Stewart brought out Yusef to sing the Peace Train song, the old Cat Stevens classic, and Stephen Colbert came out and started yelling. He interrupted the song, yelling about how he's not getting on the peace train with the hippies and the patchouli. And he said he had a better train. And that's when Ozzy came out and started doing the crazy train. And then when he got to the part where he's going off the rails, that's when Jon Stewart started interrupting that. And he said, "I'm not getting on that train. It's going off the rails. I'm not getting on that." And then the Love Train guys sang Love Train instead. But it was great. The back and forth between Ozzy and Cat Stevens trying to sing their train songs was it was funny.
Yeah.
No, the whole thing was very good. They gave that medal to that 7-year-old girl.
Yeah, I saw this one.
You know, she had more guts than all the news media.
Yeah. Yeah, it was good. I thought it was well done. You know, and then of course, I don't know if you saw any news about it. You know, nobody ever has anything good to say about anything.
Right.
You know, all the people on the Republican side of it, even though it wasn't supposed to be about liberals or Democrats or any of that. But I suppose Jon Stewart is one, so it's always going to skew a little to his perspective. But
right.
Yeah, nobody had anything nice to say about it. They said that regardless of whether or not he said it was political, blah, 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 blah. Lots of conflicting accounts of how many people were there, comparing it to the Glenn Beck rally. From what I read, that the same company did the statistics on how many people were at the two rallies. They hired the same company to figure out how many were at each. And
Right.
Glenn Beck had something like 90,000 people, and they said there was something like 215,000 people at the Rally for Sanity there.
Now, I'm pretty sure there were actually, I think 10 million was the number that Jon Stewart said at the beginning of the rally. 10 million.
10 million.
They were going to count off, but they started counting off at the beginning. I forget where they stopped, but they started counting off.
Yeah, so it was enjoyable, and I enjoyed following my friends' Twitters and tweets about it. Not the ones tweeting from there. The cell phone service was so terrible because there was 200,000 people trying to use their phones and tweet that nobody's tweets were getting through. But my friends watching, you know, it was kind of like a nice group thing. You can do it with the Twitter sometimes, where everyone's watching the same thing or following along with the same thing. It was fun.
Right. Was there a special? If there was a special Twitter badge inducted for that, or
No, there were Foursquare. There were several Foursquare badges.
that's what I meant. Foursquare.
Is that
That's
what you meant?
what I'm saying.
Yeah, there was like a mega swarm and a super duper swarm that I think that they pushed them through right before the rally because they knew that they'd get there. And there was also a Jon Stewart rally. There was a badge just for the rally.
Okay.
Like a Jon Stewart. There was a Jon Stewart one, and there was a rally for fear one. There was one for both.
Excellent.
Yeah. There was a bus. Your mom says there was a bus leaving from Winston-Salem and went to the rally.
Oh wait, look at that. I have not seen this on here. I haven't looked at the chat.
Oh no?
Oh yeah, it is too bad I didn't know. I might have taken that bus.
There were buses from Manhattan too. Like the Huffington Post paid for 10,000 people to take buses down, which is why some people were calling it a political thing rather than non-political, because Huffington Post is one way, or I don't even know which way they are. They left? I think they're left.
They're pretty left. The
Yeah.
Huffington people.
Yeah,
They lean left.
they do. I don't read
Is
the
that
site.
left? Yeah.
I don't read any of those sites. I get all my news from Twitter, Facebook.
Yeah, that's where I get all of my news from, that and from the Daily Show.
Yeah,
That is my source for news.
me too.
Oh boy.
So I was reading this really funny bit that Sears of all companies, they changed their website into, they're calling it Zombian. It looks like they when you log into the page, any I don't know if it's still up. This was a few days ago, but they made the merchandise and all the people on the website and all the text in some kind of garbled zombie language, and the people are zombies on the website. It's kind of funny.
Yeah, I'm taking a look at that now. It's still all zombied.
It is. That's
Well,
pretty
there's
funny.
a switch to zombie in there is,
Oh, there's a button. Okay.
but
Oh, that's funny stuff.
yeah, and
It's nice to see that
you know,
companies like that have a sense of humor sometimes.
yes, yes. Oh, they got to wonder if somebody might be getting fired over this, but
Maybe.
probably not though. It'd be down by now.
You know what movie I've never seen? You'll be shocked. I've never seen The Thing.
You've never seen the original? Well, not the original thing, but the original thing.
Nope.
What's the original thing? The Kurt Russell thing we're talking though.
Never seen it.
Really?
Yep. Kurt Russell. I've heard millions of things about it. And my friend Adam talks about it all the time. And I just nod and be like, oh yeah, because I don't want to admit that I've never seen it.
Right.
Never saw it. From what I understand, it's one of those classic things that I should have seen.
Oh yeah, the thing is brilliant.
Is it?
That's a good one.
It was on cable today. I just passed right by it.
They did that on the They did a thing on the South Park too. Did you ever see the Lice South Park episode?
I don't think so.
With the they were trying to figure out who had the head lice, and Cartman did the in the thing. You hadn't seen the movie, so in the thing the thing does not like heat, does not react well to heat.
Okay, I guess that's why it all takes place in some frozen place.
Right. And so they do blood tests. They take blood and they apply like heat to it, like a hot like a hot needle sort of.
Mm-hmm.
And the blood jumps up when it's the thing's blood. And on the South Park they did that to see who had the head lice. And of course Cartman was conducting the test, and he made it so that I can't remember if it was Kenny or Kyle, but he just like kind of threw the thing up, and but the thing that's
testing
like
the blood with heat. That I remember that. Maybe I must have seen part. How could I have not seen parts of this movie? I suppose.
yeah, you must have, like, even bits and pieces here or there, like over the years.
Right.
But that's one of Kurt Russell's best non-Disney movies.
Huh. I like Kurt Russell. Looks
Oh,
like they're making a prequel. 30 years later.
Right, and this is I've heard about this. It's supposed to explain what happened to the people before. I think they were Scandinavians. And right, we find out in the first movie that they're just like they're all dead, but how? And now I guess we're gonna see that. So
Right. Well, and people are like saying why, and somebody justified why. They wrote a little thing here. Why now? Why bother? That sort of thing. I mean, it's really a long time ago. I would guess that most horror movie or sci-fi fans, most young people wouldn't know what the thing was. People our generation, I suppose, always. But the director said that because of CGI. No, they're not going to use CGI. They're going to use visual and practical special effects. Shooting in Alaska. It's not just another torture porn horror film. I guess torture porn horror film. I guess that's like they're talking about Saw or Scream or things like that. Which they're awesome. They're making another Scream. Did you hear they're making another Scream movie?
I did hear that. Yes, Scream 4.
Yeah, I believe they filmed it before the breakup of Courtney Arquette and.
I was wondering about that. I was wondering how awkward that was going to wind up being.
It's in the can already, so I'm assuming that since they just broke up recently, that it's done already.
I'm sad for David Arquette, because what are the odds he's going to get a hottie like that ever again? I mean, he's awesome. He's funny. He's not unattractive.
No.
But Courtney Cox, he's not getting another Courtney Cox.
No. And speaking of Stern, he goes on Stern a lot. He's a friend of Stern's, so he goes on, and Stern lets him sit in for the whole show sometimes. And he's talked about her and talked about their relationship, and I think he even made the announcement that they broke up on Stern the other day.
Wow.
Yeah. It says old school Thing fans will get rewarded for their devotion. They'll finally discover how some of the biggest mysteries of the Norwegian camp came to be in the prequel.
Yeah, that they were Norwegians.
Norwegian,
yes.
Yeah.
I knew there was some sort of pale folk who lived in like a cold part of Europe. I knew that.
Right. The axe on the door, the man who committed suicide, the first morphed alien human figure. You see how all that happens.
See, yeah, that's what I want to see.
Yeah, that's pretty
I'm
cool. Then
I'm pleased.
I'll have to see
I
the
would
thing before I
much
see the
rather have
sequel.
this than a reboot.
Yeah, I sometimes think prequels are better than reboots. The
Absolutely.
reboots are to me seems like um, sometimes unnecessary. Depends on the film, I suppose, but I like
Yeah, I
prequels.
mean, yeah, and a lot of times, I mean, some of these films they're rebooting. They're rebooting them like a couple of years later. It's like, well, that movie kind of sucked, but we're just gonna do it again.
Yeah, like if they
You know,
decide to reboot Zombieland like tomorrow,
right?
it's just silly.
Reboot my ass. Oh fuck, I hate reboots. Yeah, I think you shouldn't be able to reboot something that's unless it's at least 20 years old, and you have to put a different spin on it. Like, absolutely must need a different spin.
Like Dark Knight was a good reboot of the Batman series. And how long after was the first of the new Batmans after the original Batman?
Um, the last of the original Batmans, or
Oh no, I guess since they went back to the beginning, they went back to Joker. We have to
right?
say we have to go back to the beginning for this one.
So that was the beginning was the '89 was Tim
89.
Burton's Batman.
So at least 20 years. The
Right.
first somewhere around 20 years. Okay, so your rule works.
Yeah, because it was just the later Batman movies. I mean, they just shouldn't have made those at all. But
No. What do
I
you
think
what do you think about the fact that they're going to skip no Riddler in this new one? It's not in the show notes, maybe it's in the show notes for next week. Anyway, they're skipping the Riddler. They're going to be some kind of new villains.
I'm good with that. I'm
Yeah.
good with that. I don't necessarily need to see the classic, villains. The Joker, the Joker wasn't really. I mean, all right. I guess the Riddler's not a super villain either, but I mean, the Joker, just some lunatic
Mm.
in makeup, some scarred, sad lunatic in makeup. No superpowers. No, he just knew how to fuck shit up, and he did it well. The Riddler's kind of like he's like a second string Joker. I really don't want to see the Riddler.
Yeah, I don't.
You know,
I think you're right. I think that bringing in some new blood or new villains, even if they're just lesser known villains, for me would be good. Like I don't need another Penguin or this doesn't seem like anything I want to see.
yeah, the Batman Returns, the early '90s, the second one and the last one that what's his name there did, that guy who's makes me a little crazy, Tim Burton.
Yeah.
You know, I think I actually like that better than the first Batman. But I mean, I didn't love it,
Mm.
but I thought it was pretty good. Regardless of the penguins walking around the ice with the missiles on their back. There were things about it I definitely enjoyed.
Well, Danny DeVito's awesome.
Yeah,
And
no matter what it was.
yeah, I mean, if you ever watch It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, it's like Danny DeVito makes that show. It's just he's pretty awesome.
I have not yet. I have not seen that show yet. It's on my list of shows I need to watch.
There's some brilliant stuff going on in that show.
I gotta watch that show.
Yeah, pretty insane.
Tim Burton, he's kind of Halloweeny, although
He
he
is.
really he irritates the shit out of me. He really does.
Does he? I didn't see what was that last movie. He just did something recently that I did. Oh, yeah, I did see it. He did Alice. He did Alice. I saw Alice.
Okay, I haven't seen Alice.
Yeah, I saw it in 3D. We saw it in the theater.
It's like I like every third or fourth movie he does. And I like all of his animated stuff. All of his I enjoyed The Nightmare Before Christmas immensely.
Yeah, that was great.
I haven't seen all of The Corpse Bride, but I like that.
I saw a piece of it like yesterday. I also haven't seen that one. Edward Scissorhands.
Edward Scissorhands, I like that one. That's a good one.
Yep. Why can't I
Planet
think
of the Apes, terrible.
anything? No, not good.
And then he stole that scene from Kevin Smith, and that caused a big ruckus.
What
in,
scene?
In Kevin Smith's Chasing Dogma, it was the comic book that Kevin Smith had done describing Jay and Silent Bob's adventures between Chasing Amy and Dogma.
Okay.
Remember they were going to go catch that bus in Chasing Amy?
Yeah.
And then in Dogma, we first see them, they're outside the abortion clinic.
Right.
So Chasing Dogma was a 4-part comic series that takes place in between those. And they use some of the stuff in Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, like the monkey stuff.
Mm.
And at one point, and I think they may have done this in the movie. I know in the movie, they showed like Dante and Randall being experimented on by the monkeys when Jay was ranting.
Okay.
Did they do the Lincoln Memorial with the monkey head?
I don't think so.
All right, but they did that in the comic book.
And that was in.
That was at the end of the Planet of the Apes film.
Right. Okay.
So other people, not Kevin Smith directly, but other people were saying, like, oh, well, like, Tim Burton ripped off Kevin Smith, man. He stole that directly from Kevin Smith. And Tim Burton, like, had a hissy fit, like, literally, and said his whole thing was, like, he doesn't really like Kevin Smith all that much, and he wouldn't have stolen anything from him, and besides, he doesn't really read comic books. And Kevin Smith said, well, that would explain Batman. And I was like, ooh, zing! Ouch!
That's
oh.
Great. Wow. I suppose he could have come up with it on. I mean, everyone was monkeys. The Society of Monkeys. Why wouldn't the Lincoln Memorial be a monkey? But why that? I guess it's an iconic figure sitting on a chair. I suppose he could have thought of it.
Sure. People think of my stuff all the time, Everybody's stealing my ideas. But yeah, I mean, Kevin Smith didn't have anything to say about it until like Tim Burton started having his little hissy fit because other people were accusing him of stealing it.
Sure, of course, it's always the way it goes. All right, so why don't we do your other list now that we're in the second half of the show?
Okay, my other list was what was my other list? I had the
top 10 TV monsters / villains.
Right, top 10 TV monsters / villains, and this is another good one. I'm looking for my list now. I know I had it here somewhere. Oh, here it is.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I was thinking of this one. I was rewatching Firefly the other night, and so I mean, even though they should be near the top of my list, again, this is in no particular order. My top 10 TV monsters / villains. One of them would definitely have to be the Reavers from Firefly and Serenity.
They were great villains. They were great. They were almost like space zombies.
Yeah. And they were like the thing about them was like until you didn't really get to see much of them until the movie, until Serenity.
Yeah.
But
great,
Zoe
great.
had that.
Go ahead.
Oh, Zoe had that great line where she's describing him to Simon, and she says, "They'll rape us to death, eat our flesh, and sew our skins into their clothing. And if we're very, very lucky, they'll do it in that order." And I was like, man, that doesn't give you the heebie-jeebies out in space, man. What fucking will?
Yeah, they were great. I love the TV show and the movie. Definitely great film.
It was
Monsters.
great. And,
you gotta call them monsters rather than villains.
and Joss Whedon, also on my list of top 10 TV monsters and villains are the gentlemen from the Hush episode of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. They give me the heebie-jeebies every time I watch that episode. Have you seen that? Are you a Buffy fan?
I am, but I haven't seen all of it, so I don't think I've seen that one.
The Hush episode was pretty good. It was mostly silent, the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
And the gentlemen were just creepy as all hell. I mean, they might have even been creepier because there was no sound, but creepy. So the gentlemen from Hush in Buffy the Vampire Slayer, they're also on that list. Herman Munster from the Munsters definitely is on my list of top 10 TV monsters / villains. He's not a villain.
No, but he is a
But-
monster.
You gotta love Herman Munster.
Definitely.
I can't do the laugh, but he rocks.
He does. He's great. I always like the monsters. I always like the monsters better than the Addams Family on the TV versions. I like the Addams Family movies, but I like the monsters better on TV.
The monsters were fun, and they just didn't get it. They didn't understand why nobody liked them. They just, I love the monsters. They had a great car. Oh, I do want to know how Grandpa Munster could walk around in sunlight. All right, granted, nowadays, it's not all that unusual to have vampires out in sunlight. But back in the 60s, that was unheard of, man. Sunlight kills vampires.
Yeah, definitely.
But Grandpa had no issue.
Even in classics like Near Dark, didn't they cover themselves in sun lotion and have to put aluminum foil in the car windows of their cars.
Absolutely, and they would burst into flame if they were out in the sun.
Yep.
The one as he was like stumbling home, like almost burst into flame, and he was only like mostly a vampire or something. I don't recall. That was a good movie, Near Dark. I forgot about that one.
It was, and it has almost the entire cast of Aliens.
Yes. God bless him. But, also on my list, I've got two from Doctor Who. One is the Daleks. You can't have a list of like TV monsters and villains without having the Daleks on there. The Daleks just classic Doctor Who villain.
Yeah, they're great.
And every time they're gone forever, they come back. They always fall through. You'll find out, but they're always falling back through a crack in space and time.
I'm sure. Every time I see an episode with them in it, for the next couple of days, I'm like, exterminate to Jen, and she's like, "What the hell are you talking about?" I'm like, "Don't worry about it."
And the Daleks, I mean, they've been Doctor Who's enemies like since the beginning.
Mm.
Enemy. New ones created for the new series were the Weeping Angels, who have made my list. First seen in the episode Blink, which I do not believe you've seen yet.
I haven't. It's like season 7, I think. But I saw them in some other. I don't know if it's one. I have lists over here of. I think it's in the Neil. I think it's one of. I have a Neil Gaiman list we'll get to about new classic monsters, and I think that they're in his list also. So you have some good company on the list there.
Oh yeah, they were creepy. They're statues of angels who look like they're weeping. They're covering their faces, and they can only move if you're not looking at them.
That's
But if you blink, I mean, they're fast. So even if you blink, they can gain some serious ground on you.
That's creepy.
Yeah, they're quantum locked. So I mean, whatever that means, But if you're not paying attention to them, they're able to do whatever it is they want. But if you're looking at them, and if they look at each other, which is why they're always covering their faces. But creepy. That was a great episode. Blink was the first episode they showed up in, and the first time that was season 3 actually. So
Okay.
they were in the past season as well with the new Doctor. They were a 2-parter, but they show up in the 3rd season. Is the first time we see them, and they great villain, great spooky.
I think I'm still season 2. I just watched there's some creepy old guy. They accidentally ended up in an alternate universe, and the girl found her parents, as she always does when they end up in an alternate universe. Finds her dead dad again. She finds her dead dad several times, but this one, this weird old guy in a wheelchair was sucking homeless people's brains out and making robots out of them.
Yeah, those are the Cybermen. Right,
Cybermen. That's where I'm at in season 2.
Nice.
Yeah.
But we've also got a couple of other goofy ones here. Is old white guys in rubber masks from any episode of Scooby Doo.
They did.
Always an old white guy in a rubber mask.
Always. I would have got away with it too if it weren't for you pesky kids.
Classic villain right there.
Yeah.
Them and the Bionic Bigfoot from the $6 Million Man. Now that's really dating myself there. That's showing my age.
Yes, it is.
Because not only would most of anyone listening to us probably not really remember, at least definitely not anyone under the age of 40, unless they've got some good geek going on, would remember the Bionic Bigfoot from the $6 Million Man. And what also dates that is like $6 million is not going to build you much of a Bionic Man anymore.
No, not anymore.
I mean,
these days it's like, so what? They built a guy at $6 million.
Yeah, $6 million is chump change.
Back then it was like the richest people in the world didn't have $6 million.
Exactly. But these people did, and they built a Bionic Bigfoot.
Nice. I don't think I saw that one. I've watched the show and I've seen the one with the girl. She was not called the $6 Million Woman. She was called just the Bionic Woman.
Bionic Woman.
There was a Bionic Dog also in one of those.
Yes, there was. Max.
Yeah, Max. I don't remember Bionic Bigfoot though.
Bionic Bigfoot, classic. Also on my list, I have Dexter Morgan from the TV show Dexter.
Great show, great villain.
Great villain, and I actually kind of have him more down because I'm thinking more of him as a monster.
Okay.
But I mean, the thing that makes him, the thing that's really that's put him on this list here for me is the fact that, I mean, Dexter Morgan is not a nice guy, but you're rooting for him and you're fond of him. You really like him. You really want to like him. And I feel terrible for liking him as much as I do. And so, I mean, that definitely makes him a monster in my book. And he always refers to himself as a monster. I mean, he understands it.
Yeah, he knows that. And I was almost going to say he seems like he's two different people, but he's not. When he's a family man with the girl and the kids and all that, he's still that monster, just kind of hidden away. It's not like a split personality where he goes from being a wonderful, nice guy 1 minute to a monster when he has the opportunity. It doesn't really work that way with him. He's just kind of, it's always in his head. It's not like he puts it away, you know.
Right.
very
He's just not
cool.
acting on it at that moment.
That's probably what makes him more of a monster than a villain, because a villain is aware that, and he feels guilty about it sometimes. Although he never feels, I don't think he feels bad about it.
No,
About
never
killing
bad.
people. Never bad. He knows what he's doing and he knows why he does it. Cool villain.
Yeah, absolutely.
Monster, sorry.
He's on my list. Monster villain. Definitely on my list.
Yeah.
Rounding out my list, I've got Scorpius from Farscape. Are you a Farscape fan at all?
I've seen a bunch of it. Not all of it though.
Scorpius, he's a monster. He's a villain. You know, he's also kind of misunderstood, but you know, Scorpius was just brilliant. He's one of the great TV villains of all time, in my opinion. And Farscape is that's just one of the greatest sci-fi shows ever. You know, again, in my opinion,
Cool.
I know AJ agrees with me, and he'll do so vehemently anytime I mention it. But oh boy, God bless AJ. But topping off my list of TV monsters and villains, it would be Glenn Beck. He'd definitely be my number one.
That's great.
Glenn Beck is definitely my top. He you know, I said no particular order,
No.
but number one would definitely be Glenn Beck.
Would he be a monster or a villain or both?
Both. He's both.
Definitely.
He's a monster.
Oh, that's great. Very funny.
Oh boy.
Why don't we take another break and play another song on that note?
Okay.
And what do I have here? I have Little Red Riding Hood by the Meteors.
Nice.
Hey there, little Red Riding Hood. You sure are looking good. You're everything that this big bad wolf could want. Yeah, listen. Little Red Riding Hood. I don't think that a big girl should go walking in the streets of woods alone. What big eyes you have, the kind of eyes that'll drive wolves mad. So to say, you don't get chased, I think I ought to walk with you to be safe. What full lips you have, you'll sure love some wolf bad. Before we get to Grandma's place, you ought to see things just my way. I'm gonna keep my sheep suit on until I'm sure that you've been shown that I can be trusted here to walk with you alone. Little Red Riding Hood, I'd like to show you now if I could, but you might think I'm a big bad wolf, so I won't. What big heart I have, but it's better just to love you well. Little Red Riding Hood, even bad wolves can be good. Gonna keep you satisfied, just walk on by my side. And before we get to my sheep suit on until I'm sure that you've been shown that I can be trusted to walk with you alone. Yeah. Little Red Riding Hood, I like to give it to you now if I could, but you might think I'm a big bad wolf, so I won't. What big heart I have, what a better just to love you well. Little Red Riding Hood, even bad wolves can be good. I'm gonna keep you satisfied. Just walk on by my side. Before we get to Grandma's place, you ought to see things just my way.
Welcome back.
Hey, good song.
Good song, The Meteors. I mean, definitely got, its own creepy aspect to it. Not necessarily a horror song, but great cover by The Meteors. They're one of my favorite psychobilly bands.
Yeah, it was good. I dug it. You're gonna hear a funny beep now.
I like that.
That was me deleting the song off the playlist so I don't accidentally play it again like I kept playing that other song before.
That was what key was that in? I recognize that key.
I don't know. That's my delete from iTunes beep. If it weren't for CNN, I would have no idea what's happening on Twitter. That's very funny.
That is funny. What was that from?
I don't know. It was on Alyssa Milano's picture stream of pictures from her Twitter. I was just checking. I was looking at her Twitter because she posted pictures of herself in her Halloween costume, and since every single women's Halloween costume that exists is a sexy Halloween costume, I had to see what she was wearing, and it was a sexy Halloween costume. She's still
Excellent.
attractive.
Well, oh yeah, she's a hottie. I saw her on Castle last year.
Yeah,
It was the last time I actually set eyes on her, and oh yeah.
she talks back and forth with Nathan Fillon on Twitter all the time. They must still be friends.
Yeah.
She's a
He's
goth
such a
fairy.
nice
by the
guy.
way. Goth fairy.
My two oldest nieces were goth fairies, and Angela was a goth fairy a couple years ago.
Okay. Yeah, she looked good. But yeah, Nathan Fillon's constantly talking about his electric car on Twitter. He's got some kind of a deal with some kind of electric car company, and he's constantly talking about his electric cars. Who's that in the chat room that said they haven't seen me in 15 years? I don't know who that is.
Oh, that's Ricky. Remember Ricky? He came and lived with us for a little while.
Yes. Yes. Nice to see you again. See you, talk to you, whoever. So, just speaking of sexy Halloween costumes, that'll lead me into one of my lists, since I have a list that I didn't write myself, but I found on the interwebs, as you like to call them. Since no one else can see the list, although I suppose they can. This one's at from the Stir top 10 most bizarre sexy Halloween costumes. There's the typical stuff. There's a sexy skunk. That's a little strange. And
That is sexy. I'm looking at that now. Yeah, she's sexy.
Yeah, they're all sexy, but sexy nerd. I like my favorite in the whole list is the sexy Chewbacca. Because it's not. They gave her a bandolier, which makes it look like, which is Chewbacca-ish, and a gun, and the whole costume is made of brown fur. It's got a hood. But that's basically the only Chewbacca-ish part of it is the bandolier. I do. It is sexy, but
Absolutely.
I think it's very funny that there's a sexy Chewbacca costume. You know, there's a sexy Mad Hatter, sexy remote. It's just silly. Sexy Mary Poppins. Way to be current. Does anyone know who Mary Poppins is? I guess it's on Broadway now. Maybe there's some people. Sexy Candyland, sexy Phantom of the Opera, and the sexy Hermione. That's got to be my second favorite on the list, aside from the Chewbacca one. Is the sexy Hermione. It's just a little skirt that looks like a Harry Potter outfit. It's
Right.
very funny.
It's got the red and gold.
Yeah, it's a Gryffindor. Definitely a Gryffindor. Now, and she's got a wand. Not that I'm looking at her wand.
Now, of course, all of these are sexy on the models wearing them.
Yes.
Now, if I were to wear, for instance, the sexy Chewbacca or the sexy Hermione or a sexy Charlie and the Chocolate Factory costume, you know, they wouldn't be sexy. They'd be horrifying.
Definitely not good. It's a strange phenomenon, I suppose, these days. Because I mean, Halloween is for kids basically, and you can't. There's no. Jen, being a teacher or an assistant principal, she's got starting at 12-year-olds in her school, and you can't go to a costume store and get a girl costume that's not a little tiny short skirt. And
Right.
so they require them all to wear leggings or whatever you call those stretchy pants underneath. Any kid who doesn't wear pants underneath gets a parent call. The parent has to come up with pants for them. So I suppose that's fine. But I don't understand when this happened. When did this? Maybe it's always been this way.
You know, I don't think so.
You know?
I don't think so. You know, I mean, I've noticed stuff like this, like the young girls with things written on their asses. Like,
Yeah, juicy.
Exactly. Like, what the hell? Why would you buy that for your 7-year-old daughter?
I wouldn't.
It makes no sense to me.
It makes me glad I don't have a daughter, because I don't know what I'd do. What do? You can't tell the kid no. You can't have a costume. What do you tell the kid? We'll have to make you a costume. It's just the lamest thing ever. You know, you don't want to send the kid to school in a homemade lame costume. I don't know.
Especially if it's like a cup of hot chocolate or something. God bless Mary Ellen. But
That's good though. You know, going off on tangents again. Let's finish talking girls and costumes. Yeah, I'm glad I don't have a girl. You know, I don't have this issue.
right,
You do, I suppose.
I do.
Yeah.
But you know,
she's older now though.
she is older now. She's never tried to wear anything that was like outlandishly sexy.
Mm.
And you know, the couple times she has, I mean, she's been pretty good about the whole like, no, you're not wearing that out. But why? And it's like, because I'm not letting you walk out the door like that. She's like, man, you know, it hasn't really been a big fight. So
Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, that's my sexy costumes list. I kind of like that list.
have you seen the Target commercial for the Iron Man costume?
No.
I was talking about this with my with my brother and sister-in-law last night. It's
Maybe I have. Was it a homemade?
It was
were
a
they
homemade
spoofing
Iron Man
Iron Man
costume.
costumes? Yeah.
And you know, at first when I first saw the commercial, I didn't know what it was for originally, and I was like, "That is an awesome Iron Man costume." I'm like, "That kid has an awesome Iron Man costume." I'm like,
Shit,
"Why
though.
does he look miserable?"
She put a touch
Even-
light, one of those push button lights on his chest, and he had flashlights taped to his wrists.
Brilliant. And then no, they're like, go to Target and buy the real Iron Man. I thought that was an awesome costume. I would have loved that costume.
Real Iron Man costumes going for between $30 and $50 for kids, by the way.
Oh wow.
Yeah. I agree. I thought it was fun and funny. You know, the button fell off his chest. But that's easily fixable. You get some way to attach that better.
Exactly. Exactly. I thought that was a brilliant costume, and I was a little disappointed that that they're trying to make it like that costume was no good. I thought that costume was
They were
fantastic.
bashing it. They were down on it. I liked it too. You're right.
Best costume ever.
I liked it. I saw there was a lot of Iron Men out trick-or-treating today. A lot of Batmans too. But like classic Batman, the gray and blue. rather than the.
I've seen that. Yeah, I've seen a bunch of those.
Yeah, we almost bought that one for the baby. I think I talked about that last week. So.
The old-fashioned Batman.
Yep. What else do we have to talk about this week?
More spooky stuff. I turned the light on, so I can't do the flashlight bit no more. But
I see you better though.
spooky, yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, I was getting sick of looking at the glare on my face or having to like kind of duck out of it. So
Yeah, it's better. You're better off.
I am. I wish I had put my other. Well, actually, here. Why don't you give me 1 second? I'm gonna put on my other wig.
Okay. It's a quick change. Nice.
This is my this is a mullet wig.
Nice. I like it.
Yeah, I thought I kind of looked like Johnny Ramone. So
A little bit.
like not a lot, but a bit.
Mm-hmm. Do you see a lot of mullets down south now that you're down south?
You know, not really, but it's been warmer,
Mm.
so I'm guessing this is something they might grow to protect their neck from the chill. But no, I haven't seen a lot of mullets. But
I guess you were coming from upstate where there might be mullets as well.
saw a lot of mullets upstate New York. Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah. I hate to generalize, but fuck it.
You know, and there's you know, I don't like the mullet much at all, but you know, I hate the lesbian mullet.
Oh yeah, no, that's not good.
Yeah, I'm just like, you know, I mean, I got no problem with the lesbians in general, at all. I prefer lipstick lesbians to the mullet wearing ones, but you know, it's like, man, it's shit or get off the pot. You can't have it both ways. It's either cut your hair short or let it grow.
I agree. I think I'm gonna see a lot of lesbians this Friday night.
Really?
Yes, you wonder why? Jen.
Why?
Jen is a fan of the band The Indigo Girls.
Okay, right.
And so as a surprise, kind of for her birthday, I bought 2 tickets to see the Indigo Girls in a place in Jersey. And I'm thinking that's a lot of lesbians like the Indigo Girls.
Yeah, oh yeah, absolutely.
Not the lipstick type either. I'm sure there's going to be more of the non-lipstick type lesbians there too.
Oh yeah, yeah. And they'll have, yeah, you'll see a lot of mullet.
I'm sure. That's Friday.
Almost
I'll do
as
that
much
Friday
mullet
night.
as the Kid Rock concert.
I'll have a full report on that for the next show.
Okay, that sounds good.
So I'm going to do another list. We're going to call
All right,
this the list show, I think.
This is definitely a list show.
Yeah, I've got. Let's move from movies though. I've got a couple of lists about books, and the first thing I'm going to pick is 13 Scariest Books of All Time, not written by Stephen King, because in my opinion, any list with Stephen King on it is the whole list just about.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah. So this list was put together by Sci-Fi Channel. And I think I'm going to start at the bottom and work my way up.
Sounds good.
I don't think they're numbered, but I'm still going to start at the bottom. And the truth is, most of these I've not read. I've seen movies, which is sad. Their bottom of the list is The Walking Dead, which is the comic book that is currently on TV right now. So I've neither seen nor read the comic.
Okay.
So
But yeah, that should definitely make a list.
I can't speak on that one. Scott Smith's The Ruins. Now, I saw this movie. It's like some kind of an Aztec temple place where these tourists go to, and the vines and of the foliage attack them and kill them. And the movie has, you know, several young, attractive men with their several scantily clad, attractive women being killed by weeds. And the cover of the book also has weeds on it. So
I have not seen the movie or read the book. I'm going to have to remedy that, though.
yeah, the movie was okay. It was a Mayan archaeological site. Vacations suck, especially if you're young, pretty, and fall prey to homicidal vines. The Amityville Horror by Jay Anson. Another one that I've seen the movie, not read the book. This is sad.
I've done both.
Great movie.
Oh yeah,
Very
good.
scary. And
It's very creepy.
yeah, the house is still there. I don't know if it's still there. The house until recently was still there in Long Island. You can drive to it and check it out. It's just a house. They made it look like in the movie like it had eyes, but
See, my grandparents had windows like that on their house on Long Island.
yeah.
And after I first saw the movie and then went to my grandparents' house, I mean, that kind of spooked me out. I really, their house was kind of spooky anyway, so that just made it like twice as spooky.
Yeah, creepy houses, creepy movie. American Psycho by Bret Easton Ellis. Is this really a horror book or movie? I've read the book and seen the movie. I don't know if I'd call it horror.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't. I've seen a good chunk of the movie, not the whole thing.
Mm.
I have not read the book.
Yeah, from seeing them, I guess the book. Maybe this list is about scary rather than horror. So I guess it's scary. It's about a guy who kills a bunch of people, but he the most memorable scenes in the movie had nothing to do with being scary. There were the scenes where he does the Huey Lewis in the News thing. He talks about the album and he makes that whole and the scene where my favorite scene in the movie is when he's got two prostitutes in the bedroom with him, and they're both naked, and he tells one of them, uh, he says don't just stare at it, eat it, referring to her pussy. So that's my favorite scene in that movie, and it ruins the fact that maybe it was a thriller or a horror movie or a scary movie. Never scary. Don't just stare at it, eat it. Hell House by Richard Matheson.
Now, I like Richard Matheson. I have not read this book yet.
Nor have I. I read I Am Legend, and I've seen a couple different versions of the movie I Am Legend. All good. I like the book, and I like the movie. So we're not talking about Hell House at all, but that's okay.
That's okay. Yeah, I love the book, and yeah, I liked most of the movie versions I've seen of it for different reasons.
Mm-hmm. Rosemary's Baby by Ira Levin. Another one that I haven't read that I've seen the movie. This is kind of a I haven't read but seen the movie list. That's good too. Rosemary's Baby is a creepy ass movie about cults and they steal the baby in the end and
Satan.
yeah, really creepy movie. I like that it's on this list. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I've seen the movie. I have not read the book. I probably should. I think I wanted to at one point, and then just never got around to it.
Next is Clive Barker's Books of Blood. It's three. It's actually 3 short story collections. So these are like a bunch of different stories. Very good. I like Barker a lot. I read a lot of his stuff.
Yep, and I have read the Books of Blood, and I dug it immensely.
Yeah, me too.
It's been a long time. I should probably read.
Shirley Jackson's The Haunting of Hill House. Again, another one that I've seen the movie, but not the book.
I've read the book. I didn't even know there was a movie, although I suppose I should have assumed that there would have been.
Yeah, relatively. I would have said sometime in the 90s. The movie. It was. I don't know how close it was to the book, obviously, since I haven't read it. But the movie was decent. It had the girl from X-Men in it, Jean Grey. I don't know I don't remember her real name. Something Famke Jensen.
Yes, that's it.
Yeah, she was in it. She played like the lead girl role, and she's hot. So I like the movie. I saw her in a movie theater once. I said, "Look, it's that famous chick," and she was with Ben Affleck, and they were going up an escalator as we were going down it, and I kind of embarrassing because they probably heard me say that she's just a famous chick. The Exorcist, William Peter Blatty. I've read the book and seen the movie.
I as well.
1973 was the movie.
Yeah, both very good.
Very scary stuff. I don't like the re-added scenes they added back into the remix of The Exorcist. They were cut. Sometimes things are cut for a reason. I don't mind when they put them in like blooper reels or added footage, but every time I see an added footage on a DVD, I say to myself, that's why it wasn't in, because as neat as it is to see that, it was unnecessary and just didn't need to be there.
Yeah, I haven't seen the recut Exorcist, but
yeah,
maybe I should, just to see what it is they threw in there.
Yeah, it's interesting just to see the differences.
I mean,
Um,
I'm sure I would agree with you because that's how usually I feel about situations like this. I feel the same way you do.
mhm.
Cut for a reason.
Next book, Bram Stoker's Dracula. I've read the book and seen a couple of different versions of the movie. The
It,
version, the most recent version, I think I've actually seen it on Broadway as well, in a musical form.
there's a Dracula musical.
Yeah,
My
there
goodness.
was.
Yeah, no, I like the book. I liked a couple of the movie adaptations. I like that one. I'm almost embarrassed to say that I like it. The one that they did with all those famous people who I can't remember a name. I see them in my head. I can tell you other movies they've been in. Ah, I got them all now. Gary Oldman
Yes.
and Winona Ryder and Neo from The Matrix.
Yeah,
Keanu Reeves.
Keanu Reeves played the lead guy.
I liked I liked Gary Oldman as Dracula. But at the same time, it's like every time I watch that movie, I kind of feel embarrassed that I like it. I haven't figured that out yet. I haven't figured out why.
You shouldn't. It's a good version. It was a good version of the movie. I liked it. It was pretty true to the story. It held up over time. The story too. It's good. And it's the classic vampire. You get a lot of. I mean, it's been 10 years or 20 years since it came out, but recently we've had all these remade vampires that have all these odd powers or abilities to go out in the sun and stuff, and it's nice to see, nice to remember the going back to the way it used to be,
The original,
the original.
old school.
hmm Cormac McCarthy's The Road. Now I read The Road, and I would not call it a scary book. It's about kind of a post-apocalyptic story about a man and his son that are trying to survive in this like place where um, everyone is either dead or trying to kill them because they're scarcity of food and scarcity of water. It's a very dark book, very sad. They just made a movie which I haven't seen yet. It's very depressing, a depressing ass movie because it's really just about trying to survive with this guy with his kid. I don't know. You read it or see it? Anything? Know anything about it?
I know about it. I have not seen it yet. I have not read the book.
Oprah's Book Club.
I see that Oprah's Book Club. That's I'm kind of that kind of turns me off a little actually. I'm just like I don't know if I want to read this anymore, man.
That's
Oprah
good
liked it. Not that I have a problem with Oprah, but you know. Now I'll read it anyway.
though. It was real dark. It was. I'm gonna make Jen watch it, and she's gonna yell at me afterwards for making her see such a dark movie.
Right.
It reminds me a bit of a book that was always compared to The Stand. That was also about the end of the world kind of deal. Swan Song. It reminds me a bit of Swan Song. Because Swan Song is a much darker, right? Because Swan Song is a much darker outlook than The Stand is. The Stand is about all these happy people that get together and join forces, and after the world ends, and this was Swan Song was much more dark. It was about a little girl that had some kind of odd powers, but everyone was trying to kill everyone else. There was no nice group. It was all bad guys, and the few good guys that we were supposed to, kind of commiserate with, they were very few and far between. It was a much darker outlook, and this reminded me of that for some reason.
Yeah, I gotta find that book again as well.
Yeah,
Maybe when I go to pick up the road, I'll see if I can find Swan Song.
yeah, I have a copy in the house here somewhere. Next book on this list is Peter Straub's Ghost Story, which I read. I don't know if I'd call it very scary. It was okay.
Yeah, I've read it, and I think I've seen a movie like a long time ago.
Yeah, it's an old one.
Like I want to say maybe the early '80s they did a movie. I could be wrong.
The book came out in '79, so it's very possible that a movie came out right after. I don't know. I like Straub. I like him when he writes with King. He's got a couple books he writes with Stephen King. But Ghost Story just isn't memorable to me. I hardly remember it. I don't remember it being scary. And the last on the list is Silence of the Lambs by Thomas Harris, which I have to agree. Scary movie, scary book, both. I'm a fan of both, and I think both are creepy.
Absolutely, yeah. I liked. I liked that book. That was the first book of his that I read.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I read it also before I read the prequels and sequels and all those. It's good stuff. I like all the stories. I liked all the movies as well.
I have not seen the past. I saw Hannibal.
Okay.
That was the one with Julianne Moore, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so I saw that, and I know they didn't. They only did one other one, right? Like Young Hannibal.
Wasn't it Red? Was it Red Dragon? Was it like a? Prequel?
Oh, yeah. They did remake Red Dragon because
Right,
they had made that again. That was a remake. That was like a reboot.
Yes, it was remade.
It was when they first made Red Dragon, they called it Manhunter, and it had a very Miami Vice feel to it. I did not care for that movie one bit. But the Red Dragon that they Ed Norton was in that one, right?
Yes.
Yes, I did like that.
Yeah, me too.
I did see that one. Okay.
I liked it. And that's the end of my book list.
That's a good book list.
Yeah, it was okay. There was some classics in there.
Oh, absolutely, and some stuff that I'm definitely gonna have to try and pick up. Like I definitely want to pick up The Road.
Something else you should read, which I read, and it's a vampire book. The Passage by Justin Cronin.
Oh,
you ever heard of it?
I have not.
It's new. It came out within the last couple of years. There's going to be a couple of sequels. He's already got signed on for sequels. He's already sold the movie rights. It's a he called it a return to classic vampires from what's been going on now, from True Blood vampires and vampires from the Twilight series and
the glittery ones.
Yeah, it was very, very good book. I thought it was excellent. I thought it was really well done. So we have two choices here. We can go longer. I have another song waiting if we want to play another song.
Yeah, I don't mind going a little longer. I'm good with that.
All right, so let me play this one last song, and then we'll go on and maybe we'll talk about the top 100 horror movies of all times. We'll tackle the top few on that list, 10 or
that
so,
sounds good.
And we'll talk about if we agree with their choices, and then we'll end the show.
Sounds good.
So here's one more song, and we'll be right back.
Under the October with the steamboats, ancient goblins and wallows come at the grand light making a sound. The smell of death is all around, and at night when the cold wind blows, no one cares, nobody knows. I don't wanna be buried in a pet cemetery. Live my life again. I don't wanna be buried in a pet cemetery. I don't want to live my life again. Fall addicted to the sacred place. This ain't a dream, I can't escape. Molars and fangs that are clicking up bones. Spirits moaning among the tombstones. And at night when the moon is bright, someone cries something ain't right. I don't wanna be buried in a pet cemetery. I don't want to live my life again. I don't wanna be buried in a pet cemetery. I don't want to live my life monsters running away. Skeleton dance, I curse these days. And at night when the wolves cry out, listen close, then you can hear me shout. I don't wanna be buried in a pet cemetery. I don't want to live my life again. I don't wanna be buried in a pet cemetery. I don't want to live my life again. Oh no. Oh no. I don't want to live my life again. Oh no. Oh, I don't want to live my life again. Oh no, no, no. Don't want to live my life
I love that song.
So do I. The Ramones.
I'm glad we decided to go along and play it because
Absolutely.
I like that one. Oh, that was me again. So
that may be the
Go ahead. I'm
second most, that may be the band I've seen second most often.
I've seen them once in one of the Lollapaloozas. It must have been like 97, if you could believe
96.
that. 96, yeah. It's the only time I've ever seen them play.
That was quite a Lollapalooza.
It was. There was a lot of... I mean, we were talking about Lollapalooza recently somewhere, some other chat room, some other day. And I've seen, like... I've been to, I think, 3 or 4 of the Lollapaloozas. A lot of good bands there. Anyway.
I've been to that one.
Which one? That one?
96, yeah.
Was that the one with Metallica, too?
Yep.
Yeah, we were all there. That was when Jen was trying to quit smoking, but she kept sneaking cigarettes because she told me she had quit, and then she never really had quit.
Right.
All right, so we're going to go to our last list of the list show that we've done tonight. And our last list is the top 100 horror movies of all time. We are not going to go over 100 movies since it's 11 o'clock already. And we've been going on for 2 hours now. So I'm going to start where I feel like I want to start. And that's I'm going to start at number 13. Because that's Stephen King movie. Since
That worked.
I'm partial to Stephen King. Carrie, 1976, is number 13 on this list.
That's a good one.
It is. Great movie. Great horror movie. Great book. I can't say any more good things about it. I like it
It's
a lot.
blood. John Travolta.
Yeah.
You know, it's like Gary, you know? That was terrible. That was a terrible impression.
Don't worry about it.
But still, yeah. Great movie. Still gives me chills to this day.
Yeah, it freaks me out too. And there's been bad sequels to it, and they're all bad. Never good.
I used to threaten my daughter with locking her in a closet with big scary Jesus. I would never do that.
Oh no?
No.
It's a shame.
I know. I really should. She could use it.
Number 12 is Ringu, which I haven't seen, but is what The Ring is based on. And I like The Ring, so we can talk about The Ring. Ring is a very creepy movie.
Yeah, it is.
Freaked me out the first time I saw it.
A girl crawling out of the TV set.
Yeah. Speaking of, that'd be a damn good Halloween costume for Jen, because she's got the long, straight black hair. All you gotta do is kind of string it down over your face and slouch and wear a dirty dress. Good costume.
Come crawling out of the TV set.
Well, I don't know if we can go that far. You had a TV set where you could let somebody crawl out of, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
Back in the old house there.
If you made like a big cardboard television set and just painted it up to look really cool, you could just set it down someplace and just let her crawl out of it. That would
That's
be
right.
awesome.
Just throw water on her, right? Wasn't she wet? Yeah.
She was.
She'd have to drip a bit when she climbs out of the TV. Why don't you take number 11 and number 10? Since are you looking at the list? It doesn't help if you're
I,
not looking at the list.
no, I am looking at the list, and number 11 is actually the one movie that actually gave me nightmares as a child. That's American Werewolf in London. That is a great horror movie. I think personally I would put it up a little higher than 11, but that's me. I
I
saw this movie when I was 12. I saw a sneak preview of it.
I think I agree. It should be higher on the list. Great movie.
Great movie. You know, I wasn't too scared at the time watching the movie. I mean, kind of scared. Man, I couldn't sleep right for weeks after seeing this movie. This two Americans hitchhiking through Europe, attacked by a werewolf, and best werewolf transformation ever. I mean, this is before CGI, and who did the special effects in this? I don't recall, but a great transformation scene. One of my top werewolf transformations ever.
Yeah, and it's so it's from back when it was all done with like stop action and makeup effects. Nothing computerized, of course.
Oh, yeah, it was brilliant.
I agree. Very good.
Love that one.
Yeah.
And next on that list, we've got coming in at number 10. I just lost the list.
Evil Dead. Which we
Evil
talked
Dead,
about
the
earlier.
original. Which which the original Evil Dead was very good. It's a very good movie. It's very fun.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good horror movie. I don't like it as much as Evil Dead 2, but it's not without its charm. It's definitely a good movie. It definitely deserves to be on this list. I don't know if I'd.
Was it scarier because it was less tongue in cheek, less funny than Evil Dead 2 was?
It was maybe. Yeah, all right. I'm gonna have to say it probably was, yes, which is probably why it's ranked a little bit higher because it wasn't as goofy. It was definitely scarier, more creepy, and yeah, all right. So I withdraw my objection. Yeah, no, it belongs at number 10. I think that's a good place for it.
Right. Number 9 is Friday the 13th. One of the most known horror films of all time, I suppose. Right up there with Nightmare on Elm Street, which is number 7. So I'm skipping one. 7, 8, and 9 is Nightmare on Elm Street, Psycho, and Friday the 13th. I don't mean to group those all together. Psycho kind of doesn't. I wanted to group Nightmare and Friday the 13th together because those were series that went on forever. There were endless sequels to both of those movies, and I like them. I like them both. I think they're both strong. They both belong in the top 10 horror movies, I think.
Absolutely, and the first movies of both of those franchises. I mean, they were brilliant. I mean, they were both really good.
They were very well done. I think Freddy is one of my favorite monsters or villains in all horror movies. He's that's one of my favorites. Nightmare on Elm Street is right up there for me. And in between those two, we had Psycho at number 8, which also belongs in the top 10. Never been one of my favorite horror movies. I understand why it's there. I understand that it's much more of a film than Nightmare on Elm Street or Friday the 13th is, where those are kind of popcorn movies compared to Psycho. Psycho's, cinematic and scary. Definitely belongs there. Very good movie.
And it's Hitchcock.
Of course.
Did you see the reboot of that they did with Vince Vaughn some number of years ago?
Some of it, right? It was a shot-for-shot remake, wasn't it?
Shot-for-shot remake with Vince Vaughn, yes.
Yeah. I saw pieces. I don't know. I don't think it needed to be ever done. Why did they remake them? I don't know. We talked about this 100 times. Why bother?
No, with Psycho, yeah, that's definitely a classic. It definitely, I love Hitchcock, and this is a good one.
Yeah, The Birds used to freak me out when I was a kid. Speaking of Hitchcock.
Oh yeah, me too. That was a good one.
It's not on this list. They're not up in top 15, which is kind of what we're doing here. But that one used to freak me. I don't think I saw Psycho. When I was a kid, I used to call it Physico because I was a dumb kid.
Well, you probably never heard the word pronounced before.
Probably not.
I pronounce so many words wrong because I read a lot and I don't talk to a lot of smart people all the time.
Mm.
And so I'll mispronounce a word, and then someone will correct me. I'll be like, "Really? Yeah, I've never heard the word spoken." They did that recently on Family Guy, I think.
Did they?
Yes, I can't remember exactly what the word was or who said something about it never being. But yes, that's me and you, Physico.
So number 6 is The Shining. Again, deserves to be in the top 10. Probably right where it is. I don't. Scary movie. Um, Forget about the fact that Nicholson is amazing in it, and if you
Right.
forget about the fact that it was nothing like the book was very different. I think at this point in that even Stephen King has admitted that as much as he preferred his story, that it was a very well done movie.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and the twin girls that weren't in the book were incredibly creepy and pretty awesome.
The blood
Love the movie.
elevator.
Yeah,
Blood elevator.
yeah,
Alex's son, when he was small, they lived in an apartment building, and he was terrified of the blood elevator
really.
because his uncle let him watch the movie, and yeah, blood elevator. They had issues with that for a little while.
And the movie has blended so much into the story to me at this point that I don't know what was part of the book and what was part of the movie. And I've seen the remake, the miniseries remake that Stephen King, the authorized version, which was not good. It was very much like the story, but wasn't a good movie.
No, not at all.
No.
It was. It was much closer to the story, and it made me like the original movie better
Yeah, me too.
because I was like, all right, well, yeah, they did keep all that stuff in there. This is definitely much closer to the story, but it kind of sucks. And I liked everybody in it. Everyone was good.
Yeah. Stephen King played a zombie band leader.
Yes, he did. I forgot about that.
Okay, next number 5. We're in the top 5 now. We have Night of the Living Dead, and number 3 is Dawn of the Dead. In between those are 4 is Halloween. Again, two much more. Zombie movies are everywhere. It seems
Right.
everywhere in the show tonight, and everywhere, including on TV as we speak. I keep bringing that up, don't I?
You do. That's all right.
Yeah.
Night of the Living Dead, though. I mean, that's what started it all. I mean, it's not the first zombie movie, but it's the first traditional zombie movie. It's the first of the best. I mean, that's definitely a classic horror movie. I believe it belongs exactly where it is. And the black guy gets shot in the end. The spoiler. Oh, sorry, guys.
No, that's all right. I think if they haven't seen it since 1968, it's fine by now.
But that was so depressing, and it's like because again, Romero was trying to make a comment about civilization at the time,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that's why the black guy got it in the end. I think this is where things started in the horror movies where the black guy never makes it. I think it started with this movie.
Really,
No, I made that up, but I mean it could. I'm gonna have to look into this.
I don't think I've seen it. Either I've not seen it or I've seen it so long ago that I hardly remember. I'm sure I've seen it. I remember the black guy dying in the end.
He was the one survivor. He made it out.
Yeah.
Pow!
They
They
shot him.
him.
Yeah, okay, I do remember all that. Number 4 was Halloween, which we spoke of earlier, but we spoke of the remake. I think both versions were scary, and it should be here in the top 10. I like the remake, but I think I like the original better. You haven't seen the remake yet, you said.
I haven't seen the remake yet, but I do love the original Halloween. Very scary.
The fact that he never runs, but yet he catches up with everyone is classic, awesome horror movie. And Jamie Lee Curtis, right?
Jamie Lee Curtis and William Shatner.
Yeah, of course.
The mask was William Shatner. It was a William Shatner mask painted white. That is awesome.
Yeah, they used the same mask in the remake.
Did they?
Yep.
Also awesome.
Yeah.
I need to see that. Now, the Halloween franchise, we discussed this earlier as well.
Mm-hmm.
As they went along, they they attempted to leave clues as to the backstory of Michael Myers and sinister goings on. However, Halloween 3, I need to mention because you played the Silver Shamrock song
I did. They
at
were
the
a sponsor
beginning
for
of
this.
the show, and had absolutely nothing to do with Michael Myers.
It was
It had,
bizarre.
yeah, it was haunted Halloween masks. Like they used technology and Stonehenge, chips of Stonehenge in the masks to kill you when the song played.
That's terrible.
And it was called Season of the Witch. It had nothing to do with Halloween or Season of the Witch.
It was bad. It was bad. That's why it's nowhere on this list here.
When you played the Silver Shamrocks theme song in the beginning of the show, I was trying to remember exactly what it was the character was yelling into the phone as he's trying to get them to stop playing the song because he doesn't want all these kids' heads exploding with snakes and melting, and and he was trying to get them all. It's still on Channel 2. It's still on. Oh, it was a terrible movie.
Yeah, it was.
Silver Shamrock. Dun, 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 dun.
You like that, huh? What about Dawn of the Dead? Which one was Dawn of the Dead?
Dawn of the Dead was, well, this is the original Dawn of the Dead. It takes place in the mall.
That's the mall one. Okay.
That's the mall one, yep. And yeah, it was a great one.
Yeah, I like the remake also. Yeah, I guess it also belongs to the top 10.
Absolutely, yeah, it was scary as all hell.
Yeah. We'll move up again. We got number 2 is Alien, which I agree. Alien was a horror movie, whereas Aliens was not. I think Aliens was an action movie more than a horror movie. But Alien was very, very suspenseful. The fact that you don't see the alien, you just get glimpses of him throughout the movie. You know, he's jumping out of corners and that's
scary as all shit, man.
Yeah, that's typical horror movie tricks, and I agree. It belongs where it is. It's a great movie.
I mean, the movie's giving you the creeps even before the alien shows up. And then when it first burst through John Hurt's chest.
Mm-hmm.
William Hurt or John Hurt? John Hurt.
Yeah. I think John.
The guy. Yeah. When it first pops out of his chest, I mean, that is like, I mean, the first time anyone saw, I mean, now it's like something, people make jokes. It's, oh yeah, chest burst. Yeah. The first time you ever saw that movie, if you didn't know it was coming, man, that was insane. That would make you insane. It made me insane the first time I saw that.
Yeah, it was great stuff. One of my favorites of all of these movies on this list.
And Sigourney Weaver in her underwear when she was hot.
I don't think I ever found her hot. I don't like the hair.
Back Alien, I thought she was hot. She started to lose it for me around Ghostbusters. Then she became, I don't know, she's just less hot.
Yeah, I guess she was okay. Why don't you take number 1? We'll end it off.
Oh, number 1 is probably one of the scariest movies of all time. That would be The Exorcist. We should have had Exorcist music to cue up there, man.
Yeah, I should have played some Exorcist.
The Exorcist is the ultimate story of demonic possession and redemption. It's a story of redemption, much as Empire Strikes Back. Well, all right, not Empire. I just need to throw that in there somewhere.
You had to.
The Exorcist.
Take their shot.
The Exorcist definitely belongs at the top of this list because, I mean, this is the ultimate horror movie. I can't think of a movie. I can't think of a movie that is scarier, really. I mean, there are movies that are more startling, more shocking, but this is really, you don't get better than this.
No, I agree. It's amazing. It was amazing for the time, amazing still today.
Exactly. I mean, the reason these other movies are scarier now and have to be more shocking is because you can't beat The Exorcist, so you got to pull out tricks.
You're right.
And the Exorcist was just a phenomenal movie. It was a great cast, little girl's head spinning around.
Yeah. Some great stuff.
Definitely deserves to be at the top of that list.
I agree. I'm taking a quick scroll down the rest of the list to see if there's anything that I feel like should have been up there.
The Exorcist is the stairway of heaven of horror movies. Stairway to heaven, excuse me. Stairway to heaven.
I understood. The rest of the list, Silence of the Lambs is down there. 28 Days Later, Shaun of the Dead, Blair Witch, Serpent on the Rainbow. Shout out if you want to talk about any of these movies.
I'm taking a look as well. You know,
Yeah.
I don't really see anything that needs to be discussed necessarily.
Serpent on the Rainbow freaked me out.
I've never seen that one. That's on my list of movies I really should see.
Yeah, that movie kind of freaked me out. I agree that it doesn't belong way up high. Sixth Sense, is that really a horror movie?
Yeah, The Sixth
scared me
Sense-
a little. No,
Have I ever explained my did I ever told you my Sixth Sense story?
I don't think so.
Man, I saw this with Kim. Is Kim in the chat room tonight?
Nope, she hasn't been around.
I saw this with Kim Campbell,
Hmm.
and you know, I'm that guy in the movie theater that everybody hates, or at least some of my friends hate, because I've got this whole movie sussed within 3 minutes. I can tell you how this movie is going to end, because most of these movies are, they're formulaic, and you just know how it's going to end. You see 5 minutes of a movie, you're like, oh, I see. This is going to happen. This is going to go like that, and that's going to go like that, because I've seen this movie 1,000 times before with different names, different casts.
Yeah.
And The Sixth Sense, the movie's over, and well, not over, but it's ending, and everybody's like, oh my god, holy shit, what the fuck? And I'm like looking around like, what? And I'm watching it with Kim, and Kim's next to me going, oh my god, and I'm like, what? I don't get it. And she looks at me and she's like, he's dead. And I said, no, he's right there. And she's like, no, he's dead. And then, when they show you, all the things. Like after you've already figured it out and they show you kind of like the clues.
Yeah.
I was like, motherfucker, I'm the last person in this movie theater to get that. My hat's off to you and fuck you, because like he got me,
Well, that's great. See, that's the point.
That's like
that makes it it makes it a great movie when it was effective.
Yeah, I mean, it was not, especially at the time. I mean, now I'm going to be expecting that,
Sure.
the Shyamalan twist.
Yeah.
But
every one of
at the
his
time,
movies.
did not expect it. I was the last person in the theater to get it. I have no problem admitting that. If I saw a similar movie now, I would tell you within the first 5 minutes, oh, he's already dead.
Yeah.
Shot in the beginning. It's obvious. Because it was obvious. Like, if you after the movie, it's obvious.
It is.
But
you look
it
at
was
it
so
again.
well done.
Awesome.
And he was killed by Donnie Wahlberg.
Yeah, he was. The other brother.
I would rather have Donnie Wahlberg play the Crow
Yeah, me too.
than Marky Mark.
I said that the other day too. If he'd have to be younger, but still, at least he's kind of grungy looking. Whatever. What else is on the list here? Village of the Damned, the original is there, which we talked about earlier. The Mist, which Stephen King recently made into a movie. A good movie.
I have not seen The Mist yet.
Yeah, you should check it out. It was low budget, so it was kind of cool, and it has a really horrific ending. Nothing like the book.
Really?
It ends, dude. It ends. I don't know. Give it away, not give it away, but whatever. It ends, and you're like, holy crap! I can't believe they ended the movie this way. Misery is on there, and Halloween 2 is down at number 50.
Altered States is on here at 61. Have you ever seen Altered States?
Yeah, a long time ago.
I laughed my ass off watching that movie now. Because, and I have been for years. I mean, I'd seen the movie in the early 80s shortly after it first come out. I'm going to guess I probably saw it on cable when I was living on Long Island. And it was before I saw the Aha video for Take On Me. And then the next time I watched Altered States, that scene where he's in the hallway, kind of bashing himself against the walls and kind of changing and stuff, and he's throwing himself into the walls, is exactly like the scene in Take On Me, when the dude is like trying to
break out of the cartoon.
let the girl escape.
Yeah.
Exactly. And every time I watch the movie now, during that scene, I start singing the Take On Me song. It's never been the same. But great movie. Altered States is awesome.
Jacob's Ladder's on there a few numbers down. I love that movie.
That was a good one.
It's freaky and creepy. Amityville, Poltergeist.
Poltergeist, that's a good... Poltergeist, yeah, that scared the crap out of me when I first saw it.
It's at 68. Maybe it should be higher. It's a
I think
scary
it should
movie.
be higher. I mean, I wouldn't put it in the top 10, but definitely higher. It'd be my top 50 easy.
Yeah. The Birds, Puppet Master, Event Horizon. Event Horizon, not a classic horror movie, but that scared the crap out of me.
Yeah, Event Horizon was good. It's on the it's on
76.
the Netflix now, and I keep thinking about watching it again, but I don't want to scare myself.
Yeah, for like a week, Jen wouldn't go to the bathroom by herself after that movie.
That was a freaky movie.
Yeah. Seven is on there. Grindhouse. Grindhouse wasn't a scary movie. That's weird. The original one.
Grindhouse.
Yeah.
Well, they had the
Oh, the one with the zombies, right?
right, the Planet Terror had the zombies.
Yeah, more zombies.
And what's his nuts was more of a serial killer. I mean that movie does give me the heebie-jeebies though. The one with the car. What was the name of it? Death Proof.
Yeah.
That one scene where in the beginning of that one where he kills that first carload of girls.
Mm-hmm.
Very graphic death scenes, and I mean that was like, that gives me the it doesn't frighten me so much as it like makes me like physically ill.
Sure.
It's like when I think of sticking needles underneath my fingernails. I mean that's how I felt watching that girl's leg get cut off, and it was bloody, messy, and I don't know if as a horror movie I think it probably belongs where it is up in the 80s.
Okay. Pet Cemetery, Lost Boys, It.
Pet Cemetery personally I think should go. I would place that higher than 86 easily.
Yeah, it was a scary movie, and it's got Herman Munster in it again. So you know,
Sometimes that is better.
it brings us right around to the beginning of the show.
It does, and I mean, you know, dead kids are always scary.
Yeah, yeah. Gage.
Gage was scary.
He got run over by an 18-wheeler.
He got run over by an 18-wheeler, and then he came back and said things like, "I want to play with you." It's creepy. I mean, that was definitely a scary movie.
Yeah.
The whole concept. I mean, is just going and digging your kid up and burying him in the pet cemetery alone is like, that's
Stephen fucking King.
Stephen fucking King.
Dude, was Salem's Lot on the list? I see Return to Salem's Lot as 93. Salem's Lot is a scary movie.
Salem's Lot was scary.
I hope it's up there somewhere. I might have missed it.
We might have, but
Yeah.
well, I mean, the original Salem's Lot had its. It was definitely scary. Don't get me wrong here, but I mean, it had the guy from the Starsky and Hutch in it. I can't remember. And it was a '70s TV miniseries.
Yeah.
They didn't get too creepy. I mean, they wouldn't let you get too spooky back then. I mean, it was definitely spooky because once again, vampire children at your windows are spooky.
Yeah, I mean, it's not. So it's not on the list. So maybe they left it off because of that. Return to Salem's Lot is on there at number 93.
And I don't know that I've ever seen that.
No. Freaky book. I reread the book recently because of the tie-ins with the Dark Tower books.
Right.
So I made sure I reread all those tie-in books. Great story. One of my favorite stories of his.
Well, absolutely is great.
And number 100 is Final Destination.
That's the one where they avoid death, and so death comes looking for them.
Yeah. And there were about 7 or 8 sequels, all the same exact premise.
And nobody survives those movies, right? I think I saw the first one.
Maybe the girl. The girl might have survived through all the movies. The lead girl. She's gotten relatively famous since then, since the first one too.
Man, what's this number 15? I've never even heard of this movie, May.
I've never heard of it either, but it's pretty high on the list.
Yeah. I'm going to have to find out more about this movie. We'll have to talk about this next Halloween.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a couple things left on our list here. We should save them for next year.
There are. I mean,
some...
actually, I was going to tell the story of the time I went to a haunted cemetery with a bunch of friends of mine, but I think that's going to have to, I mean, I'm not going to wait till next Halloween, but it's a funny story, and I think it needs to be shared with the world.
We can talk about it next week.
Yeah, we'll talk about it next week.
Yeah, so I think we're going to call it a show today.
Yeah, that sounds like a good idea to me. It's
2.5
it's
hours.
late. You got to work in the morning. You got to work in the morning.
Yeah.
I'm wearing a mullet on my head. I just realized again.
So you can download and subscribe to our show on nottheshow.com. And there's links there to our Twitter and our Facebook page and to our new forum, which is like a message board. And maybe we'll put a couple topics of discussion on there. Maybe we'll even start a thread on people's favorite horror movies to kind of tie in with today's show, and we'll get some kind of conversation going every week, possibly about some of the stuff we talked about on the show. And that's mjmandalay.com. There's a link on the site, but it's www.mjmandalay.com. And you can follow my tweets at Twitter. I know Joey at Twitter, and Mondo is Dharmabob at Twitter. You have anything else you want to plug?
No, I don't think so. You can also follow us on our blogs. We have those listed on the website as well.
Yep.
I have nothing else to plug today, Joe.
Good.
I'll think of something after we're off the air, but at the moment I have nothing to plug.
All right. So we're going to call it a night. Happy Halloween, everybody.
Happy Halloween. Hope you guys had a good, safe Halloween.
Yeah, and I hope you all enjoy the show, and we'll talk to you next week.
See you later.